This is not a ride-sharing video. I repeat, this is not a ride-sharing video. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Tonight we gotta ask an unusual question. Is President Trump, former president, number 45, is President Trump acting like a black man? That's a hell of a question. Folks would be like, what the hell? Why would you ask such a thing? But is President Trump acting like an African American? The reason I'm asking this question is because something I saw online I thought was worthy of coming out here and talking to the folks this evening. So just want you guys to hear this clip. It's about a couple minutes long. While we're indulging in this, feel free to drop your comments and tap the screen. Get your boy up to 5,000 likes. This program is and always will remain MAGA friendly. MAGA are always my preferred guests. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome. Check this one out.
He believes that most Americans, at least the majority that would put him back into office, are angry.
Talking about President Trump.
At a variety of things. And he's going to tap into that anger and say, I'm the only one who can avenge this, who can stop this madness.
Now, this is 2 minutes long, but I really implore you to listen to the last 30 seconds of it. And that is the reason why we're doing this piece tonight, titled, Is Trump Acting Like a Black Man? Listen to this.
And we do have a lot of things to be angry about. Let's be honest in this country. We do. It's harder and harder and harder for working people to have what they deserve, which is a stable economy, a nice place to live, and a safe neighborhood. It's hard to have that now in many places in this country. And Trump's going to come in and say, I'm going to give it back to you. And only I can do it. That's what he's going to run.
Now listen to this.
But here's the ironic kicker. Running on grievance is the same thing that the people who exploit African Americans do. The African American culture in this country is based on grievance. We are not treated fairly. We never have been treated fairly.
Syriana.
We are discriminated against based on skin color. Grievance, grievance, grievance. And it works. It works. And I'm going to prove that to you coming up. We're going to have a segment on reparations. Okay? That grievance has dominated African American politics for decades. For decades. Donald Trump is doing the same thing on a completely different audience, on a completely different level. But it's all about grievance.
So, is President Trump acting like a black man? Do any of you folks, might you see any sort of comparable nature in terms of how Trump is running his campaign to folks who point out that, a lot of African Americans run on playing the victim? Because that is what President Trump appears to be doing. Now, I see folks in the comments. We're going to go straight to the comments and then the box. But as always, I'll give my spiel. I do not block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. Understand that you don't have to agree with the host on this program. That is not how this works. Everybody is entitled to their First Amendment free speech rights here. I'll give you plenty of time in the box to state your case. And as always, the program is and shall forever remain MAGA friendly. But liberals are welcome to. So, looking in the comments, if the choices were Trump and a speck of dust, I'm voting for the dust. Wow. Who said that? Moving on. Okay, fair enough. You'd vote for a speck of dust over President Trump. Crying for 3 years. And that's the whole spiel of the commentary, is that President Trump has indeed been suggesting that he is a victim ever since he came onto the scene. What is the difference between that and, say, what a lot of folks accuse African Americans of in regards to playing the victim? Because for the most part, every time Trump has a rally or an outing, he is suggesting that he is the victim of something, whether it is a witch hunt, whether it is the liberal media, rhinos, you name it. President Trump is always suggesting that he is the victim of something. So I want to ask you folks out there, feel free to come in the box, let your boy know where he's getting it wrong. But how does this differ in terms of grievance politics or playing the victim? Now, looking in the comments, I'm conservative and I'm so fed up with Trump. Please go away, Trump. Rockopotamus. Wow. How many other folks out there, particularly my folks on the right, my beloved Republicans, that are diehard, true blue, patriotic conservatives, but you do not want to see President Trump run for office? Just simply put I in the comments if that is you. You are a conservative. You certainly will be sticking to traditional values come the next election, but you would prefer the candidate be someone other than President Trump. I'd be curious to see that because a large portion of my audience is MAGA. I make no mistake about it. That is, often who I converse with. Nevertheless, I'd like to see what's going on in the comment section. I see some eyes definitely coming in there. I see Evie says I'm 100% Trump. Is Trump transracial? James Mudden, now that's a new term for your ass, transracial. Nevertheless, let's go to the box and we'll keep the show moving. Bionic Man Keith is a friend of the program. Good evening, Bionic Man Keith.
Hey, how's it going, Tim?
It's all good. It's all good. So is Trump acting like a black man?
I don't know if he's acting like a black man, but we live in a time of victimhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
And both sides love to push that division. And Bill has a point where this kind of agenda works. I mean, the left is always like, you're a victim, so I'm going to help you out. And now Trump is like, you're a victim, I'm going to help you out. And more, what I've seen over the last close to 10 years is we all love to be victims these days. We feed off of that victimhood.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think so many Americans like to be victims?
I don't know. It just seems like, I don't know whether that's the media, like social media. It just seems like we've coddled the younger generation. I don't know whether it's like the colleges that have fed into this type of behavior in our younger generation that says you're entitled. And it's just, I don't know where that comes from. It's a different generation where, I used to listen to my grandmother who was born in 1901, and they had it tough. They used to have little kids, that worked in factories and everything. It was a different time, right? You work for 10 cents a day in conditions where little kids were literally, unalived in these factories because it was so dangerous.
So how do you feel about someone like myself who might counter by saying, if you do not point out that you're the victim, you might continue to be victimized because you're pointing out a time back in the early 1900s when people did not play the victim. Yet you and I both know there was a hell of a lot more victimization going on back then.
Absolutely. We want everyone to be on an equal playing field, but it's like, where does the line go too far? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you see President Trump is going too far?
To a certain extent, yeah. Sure.
Elaborate.
It's that division when you're pushing the agenda so much that it's that division that I hate. That I'm an independent, and I hate the extremes of the both sides. It's like I was watching the TikTok the other day, and they were talking about like even in the Clinton administration, and how the Republicans,
Well,
even back not that long ago, when Republicans and Democrats could actually have equal ground. We don't see that at all anymore. You know?
Yeah, I definitely would agree that we no longer work with each other. But I want you to hear this in regards to this is another clip about 50 seconds long, and I want to get your piece. I want to get your opinion on this. Listen to this.
he makes a mistake where he's trying to rally his supporters not only to support him to become president again, but to demonstrate their unhappiness with the system. But he doesn't use the word nonviolent enough. That should be 5, 6 times in every speech. Nonviolent, peaceful, nonviolent, peaceful. It is not implied, by the way. You got to say it if you're Donald Trump. Okay, there's a special prosecutor looking into January 6th. Now, he did say it in January 6th, as we reported accurately. But he's got to say it every time he gives a speech. And if he doesn't, that's bad for the country.
So, in regards to President Trump holding these rallies, do you believe it is necessary for him to continue using the words peacefully?
Yes.
Why?
Because,
Shouldn't people know on their own how to act?
well, because let's face it, January 6th went way too far. I think that he didn't come out and say it, but it's like not saying it and implying it is just as bad. You know,
So
it's like he pushed that agenda.
Do you believe he's responsible for what happened on that day?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
okay.
When you get up there and you say like the entire election was stolen and this is BS and Pence can overturn this and you're pushing this narrative, it's like you're inciting a riot, right? You can't go into a movie theater and yell fire, right?
Yeah.
You're
Mm,
inciting a stampede, right?
yeah.
That's against the law.
At the end of the day, do you think he will be held accountable for what happened that day?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Neither do I. Neither do I. All right, Keith, I do got to move it on. It's always a pleasure catching you on this rare evening show I'm doing. But yeah, feel free to come on back, man.
Yeah,
Good talking
one
to you.
last thing that I got to say, and it
Sure.
was something that I seen because I watched the hearing with TikTok, was one politician said to what was his name, Chen. He said, "Well, I got to hand it to you. You finally did something that I haven't seen politicians do in a long time. You brought Republicans and Democrats together again."
That is true. Where do you think Trump would stand? I haven't heard Trump speak. Is he in favor of banning TikTok?
I haven't heard him saying anything about it.
Yeah, I haven't either. I haven't either. All right, Keith. Appreciate you coming in here, man. I got to
Take
move it
care,
on.
brother.
You too. You too. All right. As you see on the monitor behind me, you see the bold statement. Is President Trump acting like a black man? So you see the words above, playing victim. Many folks would suggest that, when you constantly play victim, you're acting like African Americans with the racial grievances and things like that. Well, every single time you hear Trump speak, he's suggesting that he is the victim of somebody or something. So, what is the difference? Nevertheless, I will go back to the comments. As always, I don't ban, block, or censor anyone for their opinions. My program is and always will remain MAGA friendly. MAGA are my preferred guests. No fear of being censored or blocked. Come on into the box. I'll give you plenty of time to state your point without any fear of that. It's not a statement, you asking a question. Okay, fair enough. I should have put a question mark there. Tony Johnson, appreciate you pointing out the grammatical error. I think everybody that's cool, especially a president. People will say something like that. Psychic 806. I don't quite get the comment. Republicans think draft dodger coward is quality for president. Ouch. Ouch. That came from crawling on fours, crawling on all fours. I think that says you are pushing your own agenda. Make America first. Now listen to the wording of that, and I'll go straight back to the box. You are pushing your own agenda, which is what someone is telling me who happens to have the name Make America First. As if that phrase has no agenda to it. But I always appreciate your comments. All right, let me go back to the box. It is Florida Boy 340 from the land of Ron DeSantis. Florida Boy, good evening.
Good evening, man. I like the what you're bringing up about playing the victim, and I had a lot of thought about this. With him acting like a black man, I don't see him acting like a black man, but it is a playbook. And I don't know if you remember a long time ago, Trump said that if he could be anybody, it'd be a black man because of the privilege that they wind up getting. And it's some old TV show.
You know,
That he brought that up.
I think I have heard him say that before. I mean, do you really see him? Do you really see African Americans in 2023 as getting privileged?
I do not, but I think that what it is that our voices are so loud, and they've been so loud for so long that they're finally getting the attention. And so I think that they feel like, especially Trump, feel like it's an attack on his way of life. And he sees there's a lot of people who agree with him on like they're losing their country, their way, when in fact it's not. Because if you look at people, what they're trying to do is be a part of the American dream. But when you're privileged, like Trump is, you consider everything that doesn't go your way as you being oppressed in some kind of way. And you bring people along with you just to try to get them to see how oppressed you are, when really you have a lot more money than these people that you're leading by the nose. And they say it's easy to fool, people. I forgot.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you personally see Trump as intolerant or having any sort of racist overtones to him?
I definitely see the racist overtone in him.
Okay,
just because
I want to present a comment that was posted in the comments, and this is certainly something that would fall along the line what we're discussing. M. Hester in the comments stated, people of all races loved Trump until he ran for president. Now all of a sudden he's a racist? Nah. How do you feel about folks that are stating that? That before Trump ran for office, the hip hop community and a hell of a lot of other African Americans, even Jesse Jackson and all of them, Al Sharpton, used to hang around him. So how do you respond to that?
Well, it's laughable because a lot of us who weren't from New York didn't know Trump. And I think a lot of the people like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton were actually opportunists and not really liking him. But the people of New York knew Trump and knew who they were. And when they were telling us about how bad he was and not renting to black people and just the way he acted, I don't think the hip hop music was trying to say you want to be like Trump, the person. You wanted to flaunt like him because he did his best to be famous. A lot of people who are very successful in the business that he in, they don't try to go out to be famous because they have enough money in order to, keep their lifeline up. But Trump, with him failing so much in business and the money that he was given, he had to be around celebrities. And that's what he did. He made himself famous in a way that he couldn't have through his businesses. So that's what I got from it.
Well, then I'm going to have to ask you the question that inevitably will come up. What makes you suggest that Trump has racist overtones or he's intolerant in any way?
It's very difficult for the man to denounce racism or denounce the Proud Boys, these groups that we know are have a lot of racist undertones to them. He will not denounce them, even when instead of going in depth. I don't see him even coming to black communities to try to speak to the black people to say, this is what I'm going to do for you. Instead, he came to us and said,
wait a minute. Being from the south side of Chicago myself, I've grew up on the north side of Milwaukee. I know about Oak Cliff and Dallas. I've been to a lot of hoods. Do you think we would allow President Trump to even come to our neighborhoods and talk to us?
Well, when he first started out, he would have, but with this
Yeah.
racial undertones, I think that turned a lot of us off. But before then, a lot of us wanted to hear what he had to say. While everybody was calling him a joke, I think a lot of black people before were saying, well, let's see what this businessman has. And what did he do? He went off the rails, and it just a lot of dog whistles that we caught because we've been hearing those dog whistles since the 1940s. I mean, you got to
Ooh.
understand, Trump's a very old man. He remembers segregation. He remembers those times. Even when he
Well,
had a
but you know where I'm going to go with this because Biden is older than Trump. By the way, folks, tap the screen, get your boy up to 15,000 likes. There's 500 plus of you in here. You could be any damn where you want to be on this app. So I do appreciate you rolling with your boy. It's an honor. In regards to Trump being old enough to know segregation, vote for me or you ain't black, the crime bill of the 90s. How do you look at President Biden? Because some folks, particularly MAGA, will tell you all day, every day that Biden is far more intolerant than Trump.
well, I will tell you that Biden was not black people, and well, most black people's first pick. We do know how old
True.
he is, but what he has shown us, and it took a while for us to get it, he has shown us that he's willing to look at the future instead of the past and atone for some of the ways that he had. I don't see Trump even backpedaling anything that he said. We saw Biden all the way to the point where I felt sorry for the guy, where he backpedaled so much trying to appease the black
Yeah.
community by saying, I want to set this right. I'm gonna hire more black judges. I'm gonna make Kamala Harris our vice president. You call it pandering, but I think it just came from someone who was trying to say, hey, look, I know in the past how I was, and those ways were wrong. But Trump never ever went back and said his ways were wrong. Instead, like I said, when you tell somebody what do you have to lose, you're telling me that it doesn't matter what they do or I do. You still are not gonna get much more. The only thing that you're gonna get from me is somebody who wants to act like he's for the people. I guess it's kind of like the trickle down effect. Oh, we're gonna give corporations these break, and then y'all can get something from it. But that didn't work. But we also saw from Trump. Look at who he hired in his administration. Look at the people who backed him. Look at the people who were coming like Ted Nugent to his office and everything. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, that's far worse than what Biden has done. At least Biden has talked to some black communities and went to some churches. When did Trump go to even a black church?
Well, they're going to point out the HBCUs, though. They're going to point out talking to Kim Kardashian about criminal justice reform. There are some things to point out.
Yeah, well, with the HBCU, and I looked at that as pandering too. And he didn't do that until a lot of people start bringing up, hey, man, you need to go and see what these black people are about. And I think, what was it? Tim Scott was the one who was trying to get
Yeah.
the whole party to see, hey, man, we got black Republicans over there and some people that agree with us. But I didn't see not one time. I mean, they have a guy who's an Indian with a Black Lives for Trump sign in the back. He's not even an actual black guy. What that's telling you a lot in
That's
itself.
Pocahontas. That's Pocahontas. All
Yeah,
right,
and isn't
Florida
that
boy.
all right, Dad? I just wanted to share that part. It was nice talking to you. I watch your show all the time, man.
Oh, it's an honor. Come on back through anytime, man. Come on back through.
Thank you.
All right, look in the comments. Neither is your VPLO. I don't get that comment. Jinx. Didn't Trump endorse Scott? Are you talking about Senator Tim Scott, the conservative senator from North Carolina? Probably so. Probably so. 100% complete. I'm assuming that says moron, DB3. I'd love to hear you elaborate on what was moronic about it. Also, folks, understand I don't block, ban, or censor your commentary as long as the TikTok gods has no problem with what the hell you have to say. Neither do I. The last thing I want to do is censor somebody because they have a different damn opinion than mine. That is not the way we do things here. So I always give you plenty of time in the box to state your point without any fear of censorship. How about all Trump did for the black colleges, says Lola. That is what we were talking about with HBCUs, and that will lead to the obvious pushback when in regards to Trump doing things for the African American community. I have to ask you folks, Why is it that African Americans do not see what many non African Americans claim that Trump did for their community? Is it that African Americans do not know who's treating them right? I'd love to hear your comments. Let me go back to the box. We'll keep it going with Heather Mommy. Good afternoon. Get in earlier today, Heather, so I went back to you. But good afternoon, Heather, or good evening, rather.
What's up, handsome? Oh man, I was yelling at the phone when that guy was in the box. I'm sorry.
Why? Elaborate. What made you yell? What got you? What got you in a bunch?
Just because I just don't understand the whole racist thing with Trump, it just bothers me. It really, really, really does. And I'm a white woman, so I just want everybody to understand I can only see things through my eyes. So I am not claiming to understand how anybody else feels. I'm gonna put that out there because I'm just me.
That's
That's,
fair. That's fair.
yeah, that's
Okay.
fair, right? So, but I
Right.
mean, in what, 2017, like you were just saying about the HBCU, like what Trump did, like African American poverty was at a record low, black unemployment was at a record low, crime was at a record low. Like, I just don't understand the things that Biden has said is always excused. Like, I don't excuse anybody for anything racist anybody says because that just don't fly with me. I don't care who
So
you are,
so
what
let me
side of the fence you're on.
so let me ask you this. Have you never heard or seen anything at all that sounded intolerant from President Trump?
Oh, I have.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes, I have.
Give me
Yes.
give me an
Yes.
example of something. Give me an example of something you heard.
Um, okay, so I can't give you an exact example, but I remember, I don't know exactly when it was, but I remember there was like I don't know if it was a protest or something, somebody was like hit by a car, like people were hit by a car or something, and he wasn't denouncing people right away. Like that bothered
Okay.
me. But then he later did come out and say, but I feel like he only later came out and said that he denounced those groups because of the pressure. So that bothered me.
So, in regards to, and the reason I asked you this because you said you don't understand why people are suggesting that he might be racist. So, I have to ask you this:
Yes.
why do you think it appears as though the racists think he's racist? Why do you think? Why do you think so many white supremacists and these groups keep hovering around the man in his rallies? Why do they think that they are welcome around him?
I don't I don't know, but I don't like those people. I
Well,
don't like.
but he seems to like those people. If you show up to a Trump
Ugh.
rally wearing a Camp Auschwitz shirt, they don't turn you away. Why is that?
You're right. I wish I knew. But listen, I've been to Trump rally. I've been to the Trump house. I've been to the Trump rally in Latrobe at the airport. I was in, I told you that I went to J6, did not go in the Capitol, so don't come for me, people. But I see, I see a lot. I've seen a lot of other supporters also. Like people of all races. So.
But I get that
But
part,
why?
but you
So
would
why are
understand.
people only pointing out like the other things? Like what about our president that's in office now? Why are not people talking about the things that Biden has said? Why do they
They
excuse
are.
him so easily? I don't think
Well,
so.
you heard my last caller when you were yelling at the device. You did hear him
Yeah.
say that there was not a. You did hear him say there was not a lot of love in the African American community towards Biden.
Right.
We just seem to accept him because he has apologized, but we do
Mm.
hold Biden accountable. The difference between Biden and Trump is Trump does not think he did anything wrong.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
I just think that just comes down to like I think Biden is more of like a puppet though. Like his team will tell him what to do and he'll be like, okay, no problem. I'll do this to just make people feel good. And Trump is just like, no, like this is what I said, so I'm gonna stand behind it. Like I'm not gonna fake who I am, type of thing. So they're two totally different people. So that's,
But what if he stands by and says, I'm going to be who I am, and we think that him, because as you said, Trump is not a puppet. So that means the things he's saying, nobody is making him say it. He actually feels that
okay.
way. So if we,
Okay,
so if we see what, go ahead.
so you're saying, okay, so Biden has said all these horrible things like, oh, little kids climbed up on my, lap like roaches, calling little African American kids roaches in a swimming pool and was filling his leg hair in a pool in Delaware.
Yeah.
And because he apologized, that's okay. So you're gonna tell me that if Trump apologizes, that everything's just gonna be fine and dandy? Though, like
That's a good
I feel
question.
like,
That's a good question.
you know
I
what
would
I mean? I
respond
just
by
feel
saying this. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I just feel like I just feel like at this point, like Biden has you're either on one side of the fence or the other. I just wish, like, as Americans and as like the people, we could actually come together and get somebody in this office that we can all stand behind that actually care about us. But it's
So do
just
you
hard.
think
I
Trump
feel
is the
like
guy?
it's
Do
no.
you think Trump is the guy going forward? Do you think he's the one who should lead our country in 2024?
No. And I
Okay.
told you this before. If it was between Trump and DeSantis on the Republican ticket, I do not know who I would vote for. Like I just don't know. Like I just feel like right now our country is so divided and we're just I just feel like everything is getting worse. I feel like everybody's just attacking everybody. And it's always like, well, he did this, well, he did that, well, he did this, well, he did that. And like, we're not getting anywhere. We're not moving
What about
forward.
Nikki Haley? What about Nikki Haley? You think she would
Eh,
be as divisive?
I don't know whole, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think Nikki Haley has a chance. I really don't.
If it can, let me, and I agree with you. I don't think she has a chance either. But let's say, for instance, it did come down in a primary between Trump and Nikki Haley. Where's your vote going?
Oh gosh. Oh, I have no
Well,
idea.
I'm just
And
pointing it
guys,
out.
listen, in the chat, how am I brainwashed? Like you guys, come on now. You see, this is the problem. Everybody is so like one side or the other. It's yes, exactly. Like somebody said, Nikki just don't have the money. It's just we should
That ain't
all
what I,
want
but that
what
ain't
is
what I
best,
asked.
you
I said
know? I
let's
know.
take the
I
let's
know.
take the money out of it. If it came down to those two on the ticket, where's your vote going? She's on the ticket. So you
Well,
don't
here,
need she
okay,
don't need
so
money to get you to vote for her. You're looking at the ticket. The ballot has her name on it. She don't need another dollar for you to check her name off. Who are you going with?
I would probably vote for Trump.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Only
And I think that
because only because I know his policies worked. So that's my and Nikki Haley, I don't know what she would do or like I don't know enough about her. You know what I mean?
who
That's
do
a
you
hard
think
one.
who do you think would be more likely to steer the country towards unity between Haley and Trump?
Oh, Nikki.
Okay. So is that not important over policies? Or which
No,
one is
that
more
is.
important?
It
Okay,
is.
so
It is.
in regards to the economy versus unity, do you put the economy over unity?
I just feel like I feel like our country is already in such a deep blue and red divide. There's almost do you see anybody getting I don't care who's on the ticket. I don't see this country pulling together and getting it together. It's either it's like a blue or red. It's like Crips and Bloods right now. Like it's just what it is. It
Yeah,
is.
I do agree that we are incredibly divided, but I will tell you
Yes.
this. If you could have politicians go back to hiding in their basement, I know some folks say Biden was doing that, just simply getting out of every fight that happens. You don't need to open your. When Kanye West
After Hurricane Katrina in 2005, Kanye West got on Saturday Night Live and said, George Bush does not like black people. George Bush didn't go around having rallies attacking a guy. Therefore, there was no Kanye West supporters continuing to hate George Bush because they never got in a fight. So if we could get back to a point where politicians did not get in every fight that came their way, we might not get unity, but we would get a hell of a lot closer to it.
Yes, and Biden and Trump are both so guilty of doing that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do see Trump Biden with the MAGA Republicans constantly. So yeah, I think Biden
Yes.
has abandoned when it comes to Trump supporters. Biden has abandoned all hope of unity. But at the same time, let's be honest, there is absolutely nothing, and I mean nothing, Biden could do to ever win over MAGA. Nothing. So I don't think there's any
You're
chance
right.
he could have unified with
You're
them
right.
anyway. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right, Heather. Always a
All
good
right,
talk.
bye,
Appreciate you
handsome.
coming back through.
Have a good
Hey,
night.
good talk. You too. You too.
Bye.
All right. Looking in the comments, always good.
With Heather and the rest of you folks. By the way, tap the screen. 20,000 likes is possible if you show your boy some love. Do not let the name of the program fool you. It is and always will remain MAGA friendly in the forum. Liberals are welcome as well, but MAGA remains my preferred guest. Looking in the comments, Trump could never let it go. Diva Queen. And that's what we're talking about tonight, is the fact that it appears as if Trump will not let things go. I want to play this clip because there's new folks in here and we'll go right back to the box. But as you see the program
He
is titled,
believes that most Americans,
as you see the program is titled, is Trump acting like a black man. So I want you to hear the reason why this program is being presented tonight. And as I said, tap the screen. Check this out.
he believes that most Americans, at least the majority that would put him back into office, are angry at a variety of things. And he's going to tap into that anger and say, I'm the only one who can avenge this, who can stop this madness. And we do have a lot of things to be angry about. Let's be honest in this country.
You're talking about Trump.
We do. It's harder and harder and harder for working people to have what they deserve, which is a stable economy, a nice place to live, and a safe neighborhood.
Now, I want you to listen to the last 30 seconds or so of this because that is why the program is titled, Is Trump Acting Like a Black Man?
It's hard to have that now in many places in this country. And Trump's going to come in and say, I'm going to give it back to you. And only I can do it. That's what he's going to run on. But here's the ironic kicker.
Here we go.
Running on grievance is the same thing that the people who exploit African Americans do. The African American culture in this country is based on grievance. We are not treated fairly. We never have been treated fairly. We are discriminated against based on skin color. Grievance, grievance, grievance. And it works. It works. And I'm going to prove that to you coming up. We're going to have a segment on reparations. Okay? That grievance has dominated African American politics for decades.
Listen to this.
For decades. Donald Trump is doing the same thing on a completely different audience, on a completely different level. But it's all about grievance. Could it work? Yeah.
So, is Trump acting like a black man? Is he using the same, very similar tactics that folks often accuse African Americans of, and that is playing the victim? When you see President Trump speak at various rallies or gatherings around the nation, almost every single time Trump speaks, he is suggesting that he is the victim of something. Is he acting like a black man? Let's go back to the box. We'll keep it going with badass feminist warrior. I know this is about to get interesting, but as always, folks, I make the solemn promise I don't ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. But badass feminist warrior, girl, you know I'm going to always give you a disclaimer. Let's make it happen. Bad
I love
feminist.
my favorite little raccoon. I'm back. My little handsome raccoon. But let me tell you something. That last caller, she's a joke. Oh, I can only can look at my eyes. I can only can look at my eyes. I don't know if he's a racist. Get a joke. Yeah, that's a
What
joke. Let's be
what
real.
makes you suggest that Trump is racist?
Really?
I gotta
My little
ask. I
favorite.
have to ask. We've talked before, but it's a different audience. Come on, girl. I have to ask. Give me
Okay,
the
what makes
greatest hits.
what? Well, the Mexicans, they bring in the Mexicans, all, the R word and the murderers and everything else. That's one racist thing. He didn't even condone the white supremacy when they killed that one woman over there. There's good in both sides. Go figure. But then he won't condone. He won't when all the racist people
Yeah, you
say
mean
anything.
condemn. I just want to let you know you mean condemn because
Yeah,
condone means you're in favor of it. Condemn me. But go
yeah, he
ahead.
won't condemn it. He won't condemn it. He won't. And don't
All
please don't
right.
insult and please don't insult all black men about him being acting like that. No, he's just a crybaby, and he wants all the attention, and he always plays the victim. But don't
Mm.
insult all black men like that. Please don't.
And I understand, and I know the comment is inflammatory, but I often hear folks on the right suggest that African Americans are playing the victim. So I worded it this way specifically because Trump is doing it to some degree as well. But in regards to playing the victim, do you think he actually has some points? Do you think he actually is the victim of some of the
He ain't
things
no
he claims?
victim. He ain't no victim. See, his little Caucasian card got called. Okay, he thought he was going to have a little silver spoon in his mouth, and he thinks that he's going to drink all this Kool Aid and not get burnt from it. But he did. He all his little dirty work, his little baboons, all the little his little things. They tweeted. You know what I mean? They fell and they all talked. You feel what I'm saying? Do you think they're going to
Yeah.
go down for him? Do you really think they're going to go down for him? Hell no, they're not going to go down for
But
him.
I have to ask you because you used a phrase I've never heard before, and I'm from the south side of Chicago. What the hell is a Caucasian card?
I can't say the other one because then they're going to get all pee-pee hearted and then
Okay.
everything else. And then they're
Okay.
going to ban me. They're going to like banana me because I said the W word. Because if you say the
I get it.
W
I
word,
get it.
oh my
Okay. Fair,
God.
fair enough. So, in regards to what Bill O'Reilly stated in that video, where blacks pointing out where they're the victims, it has gained African Americans a hell of a lot of equality. Do you think playing the victim could work for President Trump?
No, because he's not black. But
Mm,
what happened to us is the real legit stuff. Whatever happened to that man? Not a damn thing. What happened?
yeah.
Nothing. He's never
Now,
been denied nothing. He's never been
okay.
denied nothing. Now,
Well,
now let's get back to something. Let's get back to something because I cannot stand some of you mofos saying that Trump gave to the black colleges. Trump gave $2.5 million to the black colleges. Biden, in the first 2 years, gave $5.8 billion to the black colleges. And
but
listen,
I would like.
now,
I didn't know that. I've never heard that
no,
before.
yeah,
I'd have to
go
see
look it
some.
up. It's legit. And then you know what? I'm so sick of people saying that Biden's racist. He didn't do the damn '94 bill. Everybody did. The right and the left came together because of what?
That,
They were selling crack on the streets. They were putting their own kids on the street. Our own people was doing that. So stop that bullshit and saying that he was the only one. It was not his bill. It was Clinton's bill.
yeah, and I agree with that. I pointed out, even if you want to point out that Biden authored the '94 crime bill, he can't pass the bill by himself. He was just a
No,
senator, so yeah. So
the whole
clearly, he
Senate
had to
voted.
have Republican. Yeah, he obviously had Republican support getting that bill passed. But I got to ask you this phrase:
But he
vote
did
for me.
say he made a mistake. He did say he made a mistake because a lot of the states went crazy on it. And he didn't
Yeah,
think that the states would go crazy. But yeah, he made a mistake and he said he owned it. But see, and let me tell you something about Biden. At least that man owned his shit. And he said he was sorry. When did Trump ever own anything? Hmm? He's still playing
yeah.
victim right now. He did some
Okay.
really dirty crap and he's still playing the victim. So what has
I
he
want
ever
to
owned?
give you. Let me give you a phrase that inevitably comes up, and I want to get your humble description or opinion on it. Vote for
Hmm.
me or you ain't black. What does that mean to you?
People took it the wrong way, and that is what it is. And he even said he was sorry. You know, it would be stupid. And I'll be honest, it would be stupid for my ass or anybody else's asses that wasn't, the Caucasian people will vote for Trump. Who was he going for? He wasn't going for our black asses.
How do you respond to folks who suggest that the economy in African American communities was much better, the income for blacks went up under President Trump? How do you respond to that?
He was riding on the coattail of Obama for the first 2 years. He was.
Okay.
Okay? After that, when COVID hit and stuff, and he was playing it all off and all doing his little crying. Oh my God, he's gonna stop it. And when the 15 people got it, it's gonna go over and we're gonna kill it all. You remember y'all said that? Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, he said
And
it
then
would be
all
gone. He
hell
said it
broke
would be
loose.
gone. Yeah, he said it
Yeah,
would
it's
be
gonna be
gone by
gone.
April.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be gone by April. We're gonna be gone by April. That man said it. Yeah, okay. Did it go by April? Hell no.
So before I'm moving on, so what do you think of the Biden administration? He's been in office half of his term now. I get you don't
He's
like Trump.
killing
Do
it.
you think
He's killing it. He's doing good. He is doing good. He came into a hot mess. He came into a whole hot ass mess. The only thing I'll give Trump for is he got the vaccines, but he had nothing. He couldn't get the vaccines out or nothing. Oh, Biden did that. Okay,
what about the
Biden
border?
rolled
What
out the
about the border?
vaccines.
What
The
about the
border.
border?
Okay, let's talk about this border situation. Republican and Democrats are bad at the border. Okay, they're both bad. There's not one Republican president or even a Democrat did anything about the border because they're not stupid. That's where our money comes from. The illegals work here.
Yeah, but at the end of the
That
day,
those
do you see? I get your point that you believe both sides are not good at the border, but do you see Biden as even taking the border issue seriously?
He is taking it seriously. He's doing it. He's putting more to the border. He even yeah, and let's do this. He got the Mexico to pay for some of the border. Ha ha! What did Trump do? He couldn't even get them to build a wall. What
Okay,
did that tell you?
all right, girl, all right. I gotta move it on. You were
So
rather moderate today.
you little handsome raccoon, I would talk to your little ass later. You feel what I'm saying? You better be
I
good, and
feel
you
you,
better
girl.
put
I
a
feel
blue
you.
hat up
All
on
right,
there, cause your ass is blue. You remember that? Yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
You
All
have a
right,
good one.
you too. You too.
Looking in the comments here, uh, what did that say? It's Build Back Better. It wasn't broke and now it needs to be fixed. Funking for Jamaica. Great song, by the way, but I don't know if I would agree that it wasn't broke. There are plenty of roads and bridges in this country which is part of the Build Back Better issue that, yeah, they needed to be addressed. I don't know if when Trump left office, people were bragging about how great infrastructure is in this country. So I don't totally agree with that, but I understand what you're saying. Hopefully we're aligning. Frenchie, I don't get that point. Stay in Mexico. Who had that? That happened under the Trump administration, the remain in Mexico policies. No war. 5,500 says Trump 2024. What about DeSantis? How many of you folks, real quick in the comments, I'll do it on a poll, but we'll keep it moving in terms of the box. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 25,000 likes. One of my rare evening shows. Haven't done an evening show in a while, but nevertheless, here we are. Appreciate if you could tap the screen, get me up to 25,000 likes. It does help out the algorithms. What do I say? The program is and always will remain MAGA friendly. Bengals Nation 513. Let's make it happen. Good evening, Bengals Nation. Both Republicans and Democrats are the same. They debate on stage and then go snort coke together. Chris, Trump doesn't even drink. You think Trump is snorting coke? You think Obama? Don't even answer that. Bengals Nation, I don't know why it's not letting my last caller come up, but we'll give it a second to see what happens. The border is a hoax fabricated by Fox News. User, I lean left, but I don't believe the issues at the border are a hoax. I mean, you got even CNN and the left wing networks admitting that we had an influx of migrants coming into the country, and yeah, I don't think the border issue is a hoax. I mean, even on the liberal side of the aisle, the amount of folks trying to get in this country shot up under President Biden. So I'm not going to quite go into the category that it's a hoax. But let's keep it moving. I don't know why my last caller did not come through. We'll try it again with Mark Henson.
I don't know if the hell, for some reason we may have some problems with TikTok. Don't people see what illegals cost us? Willow. Yeah, they keep the power make money off of it. Good evening.
There he
Can
is.
you hear
What's
me?
going on, man?
Not much at all, not much at all. You see what's on the screen behind me. Is President Trump acting like a black man?
No. He ain't acting like the black man. He'd be having to sue CNN or somebody for lying on him if he's doing that.
Oh,
Look at
okay.
this.
So
That last woman that just left out of there, what was her name? Dumbass feminine or something, called you a coon when she come in. Then she called Trump people baboons and called you a coon before she left out. Now,
yeah,
what
we got a
she wants
running
to
joke.
call somebody a racist? She's a damn racist.
Yeah, we got a running joke. I don't take any offense to it. You know, a lot of my African American and minority friends see me being willing to discuss politics with folks on the other side of the aisle makes me a sellout or something. She jokes about it, but it's harmless. She
And that's the
don't mean
same.
true harm
That's the
about it.
same reason Trump can't be acting like a black man, because he don't have that privilege.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So do you see him as playing victim though?
No, he ain't playing victim. He is the victim. He's been the victim for the past 7 years. You ain't seen
But
that?
isn't that But isn't
Look at
that
here.
exactly what African Americans suggest, that they're not playing victim, they are the victims?
Do you claim you the victim? You're African American, right?
Yeah.
Are you
Well,
the victim? Are you the victim? You
That's a
lived
good
a good
question.
life. You lived a good
Wait a
life here
minute
in the
though.
United States.
Hold on, let me respond to that. That's a good question. I'll tell you, as a former landlord, I used to have a number of properties in Chicago. I was, as you said, I lived a good life. I didn't see any issues. I had decent income. All of a sudden, I get a class action suit letter from some law firm because one of my mortgages was through Countrywide. Apparently, even though I didn't know it, Countrywide Financial was giving African Americans, including myself, a higher interest rate with the same credit. So even though I was living pretty good, owning numerous properties, I was a victim and I didn't know it. So it
You
can
was
happen.
you was a victim to the liberal elites. That's who you was a victim to.
What color
They
were
the
they?
ones that own all this stuff.
What
We
color were
do
they?
we do what the elites want us to do. We do what the elites make us do. We do whatever the
So,
elites force us into doing. They'll
but
go
when
out
you
here and
say,
spend $400 million on a picture, a painting,
but wait
a
a minute,
tiara. We got to
but wait a
spend
minute,
$5 on gas.
but when you say the liberal elites own
Yeah.
everything, are you suggesting that the Republican Party is poor?
No, I'm suggesting that Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, all of them's owned by the same bunch. If they want, whenever CNN tells one story and Fox News tells an entirely different story, one of the two, being reporters, investigative reporters, would pull up some proof and show that the other one was lying. But since they don't do that, that tells me that the elites are playing the Americans. Well, they play everybody on the planet, but the Americans are some they play into. They pushing a
Why?
divide in between us
Okay,
because
well,
they
if the
make money
liberals
off of
own
it.
all of it, but wait
They
a
make
minute, if the
money.
liberals own all of the, if the liberals own all of the media, why?
The elites, not just the
But
liberals.
are they liberal? Are they liberal elite?
Most of your elites are liberals, and you know that. Don't play dumb. You know that.
What does the Republican elites own?
I'm not saying that the elites are the elites, period. I mean,
Okay.
since the beginning of time, there's been elites on every continent. Do you think that that the King of England is really could make anybody in England do whatever in the hell he wanted them to do? Or do you think Putin or Xi or any of them could really just make anybody own their whole country do whatever they say to do? There's somebody backing them. There's somebody backing them.
Well, let's tackle that. Let's tackle your comment about the elites. President Trump owns a hell of a lot. He's a multi-billionaire. Do you see him as an elite?
They scared of President Trump because they can't buy him. That's
But
the
you
one
could
man
also-
they cannot buy. They done bought the rest of them. Oh, DeSantis,
Is President Trump an elite?
No.
Why not?
Elites have more money than President Trump's got. President Trump ain't got as much money as Bezos, has he? Has he got as much money as Zuckerberg? I mean, you acting like Trump is a millionaire. Look here, a president of the United States ain't shit. They were 6 of them alive here about a year ago. I mean, if they were really something, they wouldn't be but one, just like the king.
Is Nancy Pelosi part of the elite?
Nancy Pelosi is a finger of the hand, of the arm of the elites. The elites make us do whatever they want us to do, and we have to do it. You either have to do it, or you either pay $5 for gas, or you steal a gallon of gas and go to jail. The elites made you do that.
Okay. Name me 3 people that you believe are part of the elite.
I would say John Kerry is close into the elite group. And I would say Bezos, Zuckerberg, that's some Bill Gates, that's some of the elite, but I ain't saying that they are the top of the elites. The Rothschilds, the Vanderbilts, the elites have been around ever since the beginning of time.
What about the Koch brothers? What about the Koch brothers? The Koch brothers.
Well, you're getting on down the arm. You start at the head. The head is the elites. It goes down to the arm, down to the fingers. The elites put people in control, just like Xi. Xi is in control of China. Putin is in control of Russia. Kim is in control of North Korea. Joe Biden is, if he's still alive, I think he died about 3 months ago, but if he's still alive, he is the one that's supposed to be in control of the United States. But, I mean, I don't even think he's in control of his bladder.
Hold on. Are you suggesting that President Biden may currently no longer be with us?
Have you not seen them pictures?
I don't know.
I'm just asking you. Have you seen the pictures?
I've seen pictures of Trump looking pretty tired as well. What's your point?
He ought to be tired the way they beat him down. Hell, he ought to be tired. They asked Joe about ice cream. They asked Trump about anything stupid. They asked him, is he a black man just because he's trying to damn straighten this country out?
Well,
is he acting like a black man? I mean, was his britches hanging down? What is your definition of a black man?
I seen him asking President Obama about the color of his suit. You get beat down as president. That's what happens, isn't it?
Man, you know damn well you've just got to be trying to clown me. Ask him about his suit. What was he wearing? A peach suit? What? Was it a damn cowboy suit or something? What kind of suit was it? You know they ain't aggravated by what's his name, Obama, about nothing.
You didn't see them clowning Obama for not wearing a flag lapel or saying he had a tan suit on. You didn't see none of that.
I knew he was anti-American from the start. I didn't expect him to wear that.
What's your
that was the last thing. The last thing in the world I would have done was expected Obama to do any damn thing American.
Give me your definition of anti-American.
Destroying America, man. Who can't see it? Who can't see when you walk in the grocery store that there ain't nothing on the shelves? Who can't see?
But wait a minute. If that's your definition, under Obama, the economy was good.
Man, whenever Trump took over, the stock market was at 18,000. You remember when it broke 20,000? It was like New Year's Eve party. They had on caps and shit, and now it's up to 30-something thousand. They act like it ain't nothing. You know,
but think about what you're saying. Do you think the average worker making $60,000 a year or less is really dependent on the stock market? Do you really look at the stock market to determine if you're doing well or not?
No, the stock market ain't got nothing to do with the $60,000 man. That's me. You know,
So why you bring it up? So why bring it up?
because I'm telling you, whenever the stock market wasn't even at 20,000, when it broke 20,000 when Trump got there, and they acted like that was a New Year's Eve party. They had on party caps and they were shooting off damn little poppers and all kind of shit. You know, 20,000, 20. Well, it's at 32, 33,000 now, and I mean, the stock market don't mean nothing. The stock market don't really mean nothing. That's what I'm telling you. It's all a show. It's all a game. The Federal Reserve, you know, the money that's backed in the United States is not backed by the United States. It's backed by the Federal Reserve, which is not a part of the United States.
Okay.
And all they got to do is say the money ain't no good no more, and you'll have the same thing the Confederates had at the end of the Civil War, which was a handful of paper that won't worth a damn.
So let me ask you this. I got to move it on, but before I let you go, let me ask you this. If it comes down to Trump versus DeSantis in 2024.
I'm Trump. If I see Trump shoot a son of a bitch, I'm still going to vote for Trump. Trump loves America. Trump cannot. He loves America. That's the one thing about Trump. He can't turn me against him unless he comes over here in my yard and does something to me personally. I mean, the way they tortured him, I don't know how he kept his composure. If it would have been me, they'd have been pulling my foot out of some reporter's ass by now because they have really run him through the ringer.
So let me ask you this. You just flat out stated that your support would go nowhere if Trump shoots a man. How do you feel when folks suggest that some folks that support Trump are in a cult? You just said if he shoots a man, your support would go nowhere.
Well, if he does anything, not just shoots a man, if he does anything, to talk about shooting somebody, you got actors talking about when was the last actor that killed the president, and you got another talking about, well, I'll go blow up the White House. I mean, what do you mean? His people, the damn other side talks more of that stupidity than his side does. You got to admit that.
All right, Mark. Always good to talk. I think we've talked before, haven't we?
No, we ain't never talked before, but I'll get you back again.
Always. Come on back through. All right. Good talk, man. Mark. Good talk.
All right. Be good, man.
Folks, as I say on every broadcast, it's not about agreeing with the host. Obviously, me and my last caller disagreed on virtually every damn thing. Nevertheless, that man is entitled to his opinion. We don't have to agree, folks. You don't have to agree with the host. Your First Amendment free speech rights will always be protected here, whether I agree or disagree with you or not. Looking in the comments, he's giving me a headache. Alan White. That wasn't Alan White. That was Lewis. Alan White says, and if you're smart, you'll never talk again. All right, fair enough. Let me look in the comments. He was unhinged, says Naomi. Well, whether he was unhinged or not, he will be entitled to vote just like all of us will be in a couple years. So keep in mind, a lot of them look at us liberals, folks on the left, and say that we're unhinged as well. You don't think that they say the same thing about, LGBT rights or, teaching African American history. They have the same view of us. So understand, regardless of how you view folks, they will be voting alongside us. Biden is unhinged, so is the squad, says Willowbrook Wanda. All right, I don't know about, the squad I understand is very unpopular, but the squad I believe is led by AOC. I know a lot of folks on the left, or better yet on the right, see her as a whipping boy, or in this case, a whipping girl. But keep in mind, this, regardless of how you feel about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she has a long, and I repeat, long political career ahead of her. She is not going anywhere anytime soon. I would assume that 30 years from now, that girl will still be in politics. Very similar to Biden, Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi. AOC is going to be in politics probably for the rest of her life. Looking in the comments, or better yet, going to the box, we'll keep it moving with Doris Moffett, I believe that is. Good evening. Welcome to the program, Doris. As you see behind me, the comment is President Trump acting like a black man. I understand it's a controversial comment, but I did elaborate on why that is there. Doris, can you hear me? And for some reason it didn't let you in. Okay. No matter way, folks, if this is what you favor, civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any fear of being blocked, banned, or censored for how you feel, follow the program. Helps out the algorithms. The program is and always will remain MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are always welcome here as well. So appreciate you. If you follow the program, tap the screen. Get your boy up to 40,000 likes. There's 600 plus of you in here. Of course, you could be anywhere you want to be on TikTok, so the fact that you're rolling with your boy is an honor. I don't know why it's not letting my guest in, but we'll give it a second and we'll keep it moving. Willowbrook Wanda says AOC isn't qualified for the job. Do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene is? I mean, let's just be real. How about Santos in New York? The guy who has a resume that is full of dishonesty. If you don't see AOC as being qualified, and you don't have an issue with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, or some of these folks on the right, then you are being biased. Looking in the comments, B the Goat says AOC is definitely qualified. Inspiring Jesus or whatever that says, he trying to get your votes, don't be fooled. Well, they're all trying to get your votes. That's the whole goal of things. I'll go right back to the box shortly, but in my humble opinion, in terms of the right wing, Republicans, conservatives, I think that's one of their biggest issues is that they don't try hard enough to get everyone's vote. I had a caller early on ask about why Trump does not come to the African American community. Well, taking Trump out of the picture, Republicans in general do not try to court the African American vote. I think Trump probably made the best effort out of all of them, believe it or not, and his voting results were a little bit higher than most Republicans are with the African American community. But as a politician, your job is to sell yourself. The votes you do not pursue are the votes you do not get. And the Republican Party does not pursue the minority vote. And virtually every election that comes down the pipe, they don't get it. All right, let me keep it moving. We'll go back to the box. I'm having a little trouble apparently with this, but we'll keep trying here. We'll go to Chris Lewis and see what happens here.
All right, some of the guests are being allowed to come on and it's playing games with others. But Chris is coming up. Good evening, Chris.
Greetings, sir.
Hey,
First time caller, long time listener.
Oh, appreciate that. It was good to actually have you on. I haven't done an evening show in a while, but it's good to have you on. So what do you think about the comment behind me? Playing victim. Do you see Trump as doing
that? Trump is playing. Okay, let me put it to you this way. Is Trump acting like a black man by playing the victim? Okay. For instance, your story where you're talking about how you got hiked on your interest rates because you happen to be black. That's something that happened, right? You pointed it out, right? Are you playing the victim?
No.
Okay. Now, let's talk about Trump. Trump talked about, oh, I'm going to be arrested on Tuesday. Come and protest. Did it happen?
No. No, it did not.
Was it going to happen?
We said what? Repeat that. I didn't hear that last.
I'm sorry. Was it going to happen on Tuesday?
You know, I don't. That's a good question. I don't know if it were going to happen on
Tuesday. If it were going to happen on Tuesday, his lawyers would have gotten a heads up that he was going to be indicted. He would have known it. So if that didn't happen, then he knew he was lying.
But wait a minute. He announced that he was going to be arrested on Tuesday on a Friday because I did a show that following Saturday about him saying that. So maybe his lawyers or someone tipped him off that they believed that they were going. And I know I'm stretching, but maybe his lawyers tipped him that we believe on Monday they're going to do exactly what you said. On Monday they're going to come let us know you're about to be arrested.
But they're still doing grand jury shit right now. So they never got word from Alvin Braggs that he was going to be arrested. So if they didn't get word from Alvin Braggs, then he couldn't have gotten word from them.
So you think he just made it all up?
So he just jumped out there and said, I'm going to be arrested. Come down here and protest. Now,
So
did it
do
actually have?
you?
Did it actually have?
So
But
in
my
regard,
point is, but my point is, being victimized and pointing out the fact that you were, be it because of some societal ill, because racism is a cancer, and if is not talking about racism is a lot like not talking about cancer. It's still gonna fucking kill you.
yeah.
It's the, you're just
Let
avoiding
me
a
respond to
conversation.
that.
You're just
I'll
avoiding
respond to that by
conversation.
saying this. I'll respond to that by saying this. I think there is a meme floating around of Morgan Freeman talking about how do you stop racism, stop talking about it. I agree with your comment about the cancer comparison 100%. I don't think you will ever stop any injustice or atrocity by keeping quiet about it. I think that's the worst advice you can give anyone. If you're being mistreated by someone, keeping quiet about it is not going to make it go away. I just never could understand that.
I have never heard of a man who beats his wife stop beating his wife because she doesn't talk about it.
Good point. Good point.
Right?
Catholic Church
Just
could be
like
another one.
just like I have never that too. I have never heard of racism going away because people stop talking about racism. I'm sure that
Right.
there are all kinds of towns in Mississippi and Alabama that have been sundown towns from way back when where people don't talk about racism. And yet
It's kind
it
of
just
like
silence
it's kind of
makes
like
silence
it's
makes
kind of
the
like the
crime.
statement of they say about Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club. That didn't mean Fight Club was going to go away.
Right. Silence only enables the crime.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
So my original point was this: something happened to you. You pointed it out. Now, I'm
Right.
sure that there are any number of other things, and you and I are both from the same part of town, right? I don't live in Chicago anymore because I've done a lot of moving around. But,
Okay.
the Navy took me out of Chicago and I've not lived there for a while.
Understood.
But
Okay.
uh the thing about it is that something happens, we point it out. When we do that, people say, "Oh, you're playing the victim," or "Oh, that's just more woke politics," which is a euphemism for black these days. Really, it's kind of
Mm.
sad. It's sad to see certain types of white folks trying to code switch because they don't do it very well. But then again, they don't really have to. Um, but you pointed out something bad happened to you. If you do it to a certain degree, people will say, "Oh, you're playing the victim," not because you're playing the victim, but because they don't want to hear it.
Yeah. I agree with that. I do agree that
Trump
the
though,
whole
Trump
push.
actually plays the victim though, because everything that bear in mind that first of all, everything that's happening to him right now is his own fault. You took
Well,
300
wait a minute,
classified.
wait a
You
minute.
took
I
300
gotta
classified
push back
document
on it.
files away.
Hold on. I gotta push back on that. The
Okay,
charges they tried to get him with in New York. If Trump was not the bombastic, tweeting, divisive guy he is, do you really think they would have tried to go after him, a former president, because he paid a few bucks to a porn star?
this is not about him paying a few bucks to a porn star. If he had paid
But
a
that's
few
not
bucks
what
to a
I'm
porn
asking you.
star,
The point I'm trying to make to you is this: do you think that, let's say Obama or George W. Bush did the exact same thing Trump did,
Mhm.
but their reputations are not as divisive as Trump is? They don't attack people like Trump does, and
Mhm.
say hateful, divisive rhetoric like Trump. Do you think they would have went after Obama or George W. Bush for paying a porn star $100,000 in a what is it, a confidentiality agreement? Do you really think they would have did the same thing to them?
is here's the thing: you're minimizing what happened. What
But that's
happened is in the,
no. I'm
hold
not
on,
saying.
hold on,
Wait, hold it. I'm
wait.
not trying to minimize it. I'm
On the
saying
surface, the
I'm not.
surface of
I'm
your
not trying.
question,
Wait. Hold
I'm
on.
just
Hold
saying
on.
the
I'm
surface of
not
your
trying to
question
minimize it.
is
I'm
fine.
asking would the same outcome based on the exact same issue have happened to other presidents?
Okay, okay. If you're talking about the exact same issue, yes, and I'll tell you why. Because what we're talking about is not $130,000 to a porn star to keep her quiet, or even that he funneled everything through the National Enquirer to buy and kill the story. That's Donald Trump. That's Trumpy shit that Donald Trump does. It's that it's a campaign finance issue. If Barack Obama wiped his ass sideways, they'd come after him, especially if he was wearing a tan
Okay.
suit.
That was a bad example.
Can
You're
you
right. That was a
imagine
bad
a
example. Yeah,
world?
I'll give you
Can
that.
you
That's a
imagine a
bad
world
example.
in which he paid a porn star with campaign finance money?
George W. Bush.
Same thing. If it was a campaign finance violation, he just left his wank hanging out there for somebody to cut it off.
Okay.
See,
I
the thing about it is
disagree.
that
I
if you're doing
disagree.
something that stupid, and people, if you're doing something that stupid in as stupid a way as it was done, which of course it's a Trump caper, so it's doomed to failure to begin with,
Yeah.
then you're
I
going to get
gotta
caught up in
say,
some stuff.
okay. Well, even though I lean left, I do believe that because of the way Trump acts, he is getting attacked more than say. And with Obama's a bad example. You know, being the first black president. Yeah, they're going to go after Obama. I get that. But George W. Bush and some of the others, I don't believe they would be getting attacked as much as Trump because they didn't get in fights as much as Trump. I don't. You and I disagree on this on the whole
Well,
Stormy Daniels thing. I
the
think if George
the only
W. Bush or
thing,
somebody did that, they wouldn't face it.
if it was simply $130,000 to a porn star, it would have come up. It would have been news. Nobody would have been prosecuted over it, including Trump. If it was just that, there'd be nothing to prosecute. But the fact that he did it the way he did it and pushed the money through the way he did it at the time that he did it puts him in an extremely actionable position. And he did that to himself.
Why wait 7 years if it's that bad?
Bear in mind, who came up with the grand notion that you can't prosecute a sitting president?
We're talking about the state of New York, though. This is not a federal crime. Why wait 7 years?
They took it up to begin with earlier on while he was president. But think about how crazy things were when he was president.
He's been out of
People
office
were,
for he's been out of office for 2.5 years. They
yes,
could have
he
been
had.
done this.
And when they switched DAs in New York, originally they backed off of it. But then they picked it up again.
So, and then they come up after 7 years and try to stretch this into a felony. You don't see where they're stretching it at all on this.
If it's a felony, it's a felony.
It's not.
Right?
It's not the
campaign. If you first of all, if you use campaign finance money as hush money or anything else that you're not supposed to, that is a misdemeanor. But if you use it to influence the outcome of the election, or if you used it to cover up anything else, that compounds it into a felony. That's how New York law works.
And you wait 7 years to go after a former president for this, and you don't see anything. Okay. You see that as normal.
Here's the thing. People keep using that qualifier, a former president, as if it should give him a pass for any of the things that he's done. Wait. Let me finish. Let me finish. Hold on. Very few Americans, with the exception of myself and some other people that I know, stand up and take an oath to obey the Constitution and defend it against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and in his case, to ensure that all the laws are conformed to. This man stood at a dais in front of the whole world and took an oath to do this. And then he broke that oath, and he's broken it repeatedly. So no, it doesn't give him a pass. It makes it worse. People are bad. People are hot on criminals doing criminal shit, but criminals don't take oaths not to do criminal shit. This man actually took an oath to not do it.
I would be far more willing to entertain find me 11,000 votes. I definitely think he's responsible for January 6th. But what happened in New York, in my opinion, that's some bullshit. That's just my humble opinion. Go ahead.
Bearing in mind, like I said, this is one of those times in which I've always said that for a while I used to argue about Donald Trump with people. Then I just said, just let Trump be Trump and the rest takes care of itself. Where Trump goes, Trumpy shit follows. And it don't get much more Trumpier than this.
All right.
Bear in mind
Okay.
that this movie should have ended. This movie should have ended in the back of the Four Seasons lawnmower joint, right across from the pet crematorium and the dildo shop. This is where the credit should have rolled on this movie. But like The Dark Knight, where it could have ended at any point, in an hour and a half in, the Joker just kept doing shit.
Yeah.
So it went on from an hour and a half to an hour 45 to 2 hours and 10. That's what Donald Trump is like. He just keeps doing shit. And as
Do you
long as
think
he
he'll
keeps
be real?
doing
Do
shit,
you think I gotta move it on? But I have to ask you this: what do you think his chances are of getting back in the White House?
slim to none. Slim to
Okay.
none. Because the only reason, bear in mind, Donald Trump is not running for president. He's running. He declared his intention to run for president earlier than any person in American history. And the reason for that is because he knew these indictments are coming down, and he feels, justly so, because given the last example, it happens to be true, that he could use the cover of a political election to declare all investigations, which were going on well before he declared, oh, political hit jobs, they're all a witch hunt. Oh my gosh, I'm going to become, I am your retribution. I am your retribution. It's
So you think he ran to stay out of jail?
That's the reason. Why do you think they stormed? Why do you think he assembled a couple of thousand of his nearest and dearest, closest, perfect strangers on the ellipse the day that they were getting ready to count those votes? Every other Trumpy ass shit he tried failed, so he decided to go with the mob. Why? Because he wanted to stay president. It gave him legal cover to be president. That's why all these walls are closing in on him now, because he's not president anymore. So where does he run?
I'm going to do that as a poll by way of yes or no. I just put a poll. I want to see how many folks think that Trump ran to literally avoid charges and potentially stay out of the criminal justice system. But I got to move it on, Chris. Appreciate you coming in here.
Well, I want to thank you for having me, sir. I really do enjoy your impromptu shows from your car. Whenever I can catch you, it's just an early night off the truck for me, so I decided to look in, and there you were.
Well, I appreciate you coming in, man. You're always welcome. Talk to you on the next one.
I hope so.
Looking
comments, all the Democrats are going to say yes. Well, in regards to the Democrats, are going to respond yes to the poll. You think Liz Cheney is a Democrat? You think Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney, you think they're Democrats? I don't want to hear Rhino because there is no Rhino party. So I want to ask the question, do you think that President Trump deliberately ran to be commander-in-chief for a second time so early as to use that position to avoid being criminally accountable? I just want you guys to respond to the comment, the poll that's in here. We'll talk about it. The poll is 10 minutes long. I will discuss the poll when it concludes. Let's keep it moving, though. It's on and popping. Okay. Good evening. It's on and popping. It's a hell of a name.
to the program. It's on and popping. So what do you think? You think Trump is trying to leverage the office simply to avoid criminal prosecution?
Yeah, and I was
Why?
I was Craig Smith, man. 001. I just changed my name. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah. He tried to. Yeah, he's doing that. Ain't no doubt.
So in regards to my screen behind me, do you see President Trump as actually like a black man? I get that it's a crazy ass statement, but do you see him as playing the victim?
Trump is acting like a privileged white man.
Elaborate.
He been privileged all his life, getting away with stuff, and he's doing the same thing now, trying to get away with something.
Hmm. At the end of the day, do you think he will be held accountable criminally at all?
I tend to kind of believe what you say. No,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, I don't believe anybody at that level. And I said the same for Hillary Clinton and Hunter Biden. You're not going to lock these people up. Trump is never going to be seen in an orange jumpsuit or in a cell somewhere. I don't think that'll ever happen.
you know, I had something on my mind that I wanted to run across to you.
Sure.
Both parties are playing us. They are dividing.
How so?
They are dividing this country to the point where we are ready to go to war with each other.
Why? What would be the purpose of, like, if we decided to battle with each other? What would be the goal of that?
I don't know,
Then
and
why do it?
and that's a shame. And that's a shame because for the simple fact, it's other things going. If North Korea or Russia or China was to bomb this place tomorrow, all the elites, people with money that got good money, they already got bunkers. They already got all of this stuff ready for them. The only people,
Bunkers?
yeah, they got bunkers. They got the bunkers in
Yeah. I know what you're
my,
talking about. Yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about. But do
they
you really
going
think there's going to be?
they are going underground, and who is gonna have to defend each other? We gonna neighbors gonna be fighting each other, and we need to start sticking together. We need to cut this mess out. We need to cut.
So let's say we do have. But wait a minute. When we had a civil war back in the 1700s, it was North versus South. We knew what each side was fighting for. The South was fighting to secede from the North. What would be the what? Who would be on what side of a modern day civil unrest, and what would be the go? Like, what are you fighting for?
Well, what I'm saying is, I don't think it'll ever be a civil war
Okay, thank
per
God,
se.
thank God. Okay,
I, I'm I'm saying that if something hit the fan, like everybody is talking about North Korea, China, and all that, them people is going underground. We gonna be the ones out here. We gonna be the ones that out here that got to survive because the only few people that's gonna cause your butt ain't getting in them tunnels, and most of these people on this comet ain't getting in these tunnels either. The only people that's
yeah.
gonna probably get in these tunnels is the ones that's working in these tunnels, that's bringing stuff in there, and they just happen to be a lucky one. Other than that,
But
we gonna
okay,
be
so
out here. We
but
gonna,
when you talk about North Korea and China and things like that, how do you respond to folks who suggest that under Trump we didn't have to worry about these countries, and under Biden it looks like we're headed to some type of major conflict?
I'm gonna be honest with you. From what I seen, Trump was letting them people walk right on in Ukraine anyway. Yeah, we didn't have no war or nothing like that, but you just gonna late another country. And don't get me wrong, I know we do a lot of crazy stuff, but you just gonna
Yeah,
let another country invade a country and just, I mean, the bombing today, Russia bombed a hospital, a daycare, and some other stuff. That's not war, man. That's terror.
yeah.
We supposed
Well,
to be
but
fighting.
the claim is that if Trump was still president, that whole conflict would have never taken place. Putin would have never went into the Ukraine.
And he would have went in, but he would have went in under Trump's what you call it? He would have just let him walk on in. Trump
You
didn't
think
care
Trump?
nothing about.
You think he would have went in under Trump's blessing?
Yeah, he would have went in under. If Trump would have got a second term in office, he would have went in anyway. I
Mm.
guarantee you. I
So
guarantee.
what happens to, in your opinion, if Trump becomes commander in chief again in 2024? What happens to the Ukraine?
They going down. You hear the Republicans already. Uh,
Yeah,
the far right wing of the Republicans talk. We don't need to fund them no more. I mean, I don't want to
yeah.
fund Ukraine either because we got a lot of stuff to do over here. But the fact is,
So, but how do you now in the comments? Perry Party points out he believes that Trump knew how to talk to countries overseas. Now, obviously, under Biden, we're dealing with a major conflict with Russia. You got China getting pretty damn upset, North Korea, Iran, they're all doing their thing. He's pointing out that he believes that Trump knew how to talk to these folks. Do you see any validity to that?
Kung flu virus, oh, shithole countries. Yeah, I guess he did know how to talk to.
All right, that's a hell of a response. Okay. All
Yeah,
right, I
Kim
got to
Jong
move it
Un.
on.
God, I forgot what he called that man.
All right, fair enough. I got to move it on,
Yes,
though, man.
sir.
I
You
appreciate
take
you
care,
coming in
man.
here.
I
Hey,
I watch you. I look forward to watching you every morning.
hey, it's an honor, man. Come on by. It's always, hey, anytime my door is always open to you, man. I appreciate you coming in tonight. I'll catch you on the next one. Okay.
In the comments, it was from Wuhan Lab. Yeah, but he did call it the Kung Flu, and yeah, he came up with these crazy ass names that were somewhat insulting. So, my last caller does make a point that the language is not necessary. You can point out that the virus came from this country without the Kung Flu. I mean, you don't have to say that, right? Unless you really want to just insult them. It's kind of like the Pocahontas thing. You can point out that she lied about her heritage, pretended like she was Native American. Calling her, you don't have to call her Pocahontas, do you? I mean, unless you just like doing that. And I understand a lot of folks on the right, particularly my beloved MAGA, they like that type of stuff. I've had folks on the program and I've asked them, what is it about Ron DeSantis you don't like? Considering you would probably get almost the same policies out of Ron DeSantis. And at the end of the day, many of them admitted, I like the rhetoric, the attacks that come from President Trump. It's not necessarily just his policies. I like the fact that he attacks people. So a lot of folks have become hooked to that type of rhetoric. And it is what it is, though. Looking in the comments, Crooked Hillary, I see that one as well. I mean, there's a bunch of these things. Nervous Nancy, Crazy Bernie. By the way, the poll just ended. Did Trump run to stay out of jail? Wow. Now, my audience is generally MAGA. I point out always that this is a MAGA friendly program. MAGA are always preferred on the program. Liberals are welcome, but my preferred guests are MAGA. In regards to the poll, 10-minute poll, did Trump run to stay out of jail? 69.4% of you said yes. 30.5 said no. So among this audience, many of you believe he did run to avoid incarceration. Wow. Now I don't believe President Trump at the end of the day is even going to deal with any of this at all. But that is crazy that so many of you folks do see that. Nevertheless, let me continue on and we'll go right back to the box. And MAGA means, what does that says? And MAGA means make America great again. There is nothing wrong with that. Perry Party. No, there's nothing wrong with saying make America great again. But you do have to understand you're going to have a hell of a lot of people, particularly minorities, asking when was it great the first time. So that is going to come up. Looking in the comments, it's mostly about the grift. I have never heard the word grift so often until Trump became president. I didn't even know, I don't know if I even knew what the word meant before Trump became president, but I've heard it so much. I had to look it up. This guy putting Trump's face on Biden. It's Biden they're walking on. I don't get that comment there. Let's keep it moving. We'll go straight back to the bots and we'll make it happen with Terry F7.
Good evening, Terry. Welcome to the program.
Good
Hey, I'm
evening.
doing
How
good.
are you?
It's a pleasure. I'm doing good. So, what do you think about what do you see behind me? Is Trump acting like a black man, playing victim? What do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't really like the wording because everyone will act like a victim at some point or another. It's not
Do
just
you see
black.
do you see Trump as acting like a victim?
I don't think he's acting like a victim, personally, but
You don't you don't hear Trump at just about every gathering, every rally suggesting that somebody is victimizing him in some way. He's been attacked. The media is doing it. The rhinos are doing it. The liberals are doing it. You don't hear that stuff?
no, I hear it, but I don't. I think a lot of it's true, though, that he's getting attacked from every other way.
Do you think Mike Pence not changing or stalling the election was an attack on him? Because he brings that up quite often too.
Um, I don't think it. I don't think Pence did it as an attack. I think he did it because he thought it was right, and I'm
Okay.
sure that was the right way to do it. You know?
Yeah. All right. So you don't see Trump claiming to be victim of something that he was not a victim of. You think when he says he's a victim, he's always generally telling the truth about that.
Yeah, because if you, a lot of it's come out since he's been out of office. A lot of it's come out that
What
there's
about what about Dominion, the voting machine company? Do you think they victimized Trump? Because he's claiming that as well.
well, I'm not too sure about that. I know they can be hacked and stuff, but
Right.
that one I'm having a little hard time
Okay.
going with.
Right. But he is claiming that one as well.
Yeah, yeah, he is
Oh.
claiming it, but um, I do remember there was supposedly evidence of the memory cards being screwed with.
Yeah. Well, let me respond. Let me respond by saying this: in a country of 330 million people, I do believe, even as a guy on the left side of the aisle, that you're going to have some improprieties and maybe some cheating in an election. Nevertheless,
Yeah.
there is a difference between cheating and Trump winning by a landslide. There could actually have been liberals cheating in the last election, but that doesn't automatically equate to him winning by a landslide. He stated he won by a landslide. I'm asking you, what is he basing that on?
I'm not really sure, honestly.
Okay.
I haven't really paid too much attention to it. Just, I don't know, too much stuff going on with it and everything. And where do you start?
What about what took place on January 6th? Do you hold him accountable for any of that?
No, no, I don't really. I mean, he did
Okay.
say, I know he did say, protest peacefully, and
Well,
uh,
He makes
I,
him.
so, in regards to him suggesting to protest peacefully on January 6th, what about the idea that he also called for them to protest in regards to him suggesting he was going to be arrested in New York that didn't happen? But why would he do that again after what happened on January 6th?
yeah, I don't know why he said, come and protest, and I don't remember him saying peacefully for that one, but um, didn't he say to fight, come protest and
Well,
fight?
he's also stated that in 2024, this is going to be the final battle. I don't, he's talking about the election, but what do you think he means by suggesting 2024 will be the final battle?
Uh, I don't know.
Okay.
That's
I want you to, I want you to
um,
hear, this is only like 50 seconds long, but this is Bill O'Reilly, and this is in regards to the conversation we're talking about. I want you to give me your opinion on this.
all right.
He makes a mistake where he's trying to rally his supporters not only to support him to become president again, but to demonstrate their unhappiness with the system. But he doesn't use the word nonviolent enough. That should be 5, 6 times in every speech. Nonviolent, peaceful, nonviolent, peaceful. It is not implied, by the way. You got to say it if you're Donald Trump. Okay, there's a special prosecutor looking into January 6th. Now, he did say it in January 6th, as we reported accurately. But he's got to say it every time he gives a speech. And if he doesn't, that's bad for the country and for him.
What do you think? Do you think you agree with Bill O'Reilly there?
No, I don't. I mean, if you say
So
go protest peacefully,
you don't think he should say peacefully.
oh no, I think he should say peacefully. I just
So
don't
what
think
part
he
don't
should
you
say
agree with?
nonviolent.
What's the
Non,
difference?
um, well, because you'd be telling them twice, pretty much, to do it peacefully. I mean, you shouldn't have to say don't do it nonviolently because there's going to be protesters that are going to be violent.
Yeah, but
My,
when you look at what happened after the last gathering, which is probably one of the most violent political protests in recent history,
right.
I mean, you're going to bring that up that you need to work this better because even though you told those people to go peacefully, they didn't listen to you. So
Yeah,
you don't see where he needs to really emphasize that.
yeah, he should emphasize it more. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you don't hold him accountable for what happened on January 6th, what do you think caused those people to do that?
Uh, I think some of it was FBI helping them starting stuff.
How could they do that? What could
Well,
the FBI do to make them do that?
well, you got apps that was going around spreading, whispering in people's ears and stuff. There was cops opening up gates, letting them in.
Yeah, but if the cops are peaceful and they open up the gates to let you in, why would you then go in and tear the place up?
be some people are just jerks. I mean, I don't know what goes through anybody's mind. You know, I
Okay,
can't
now
say why, but
you mentioned Ray Epps and the FBI. I have to ask this question. If Trump said to go peacefully, Ray Epps is somebody that no one at the rally knows. Nobody knows who this guy is from Adam.
right.
How is it that you could fly hundreds, if not 1,000 miles or more to hear President Trump speak, to protest and defend President Trump? And then he asked you to
Um,
go to the Capitol building peacefully, and within a mile or two of a walk, you decide to ignore the guy you flew all the way out here to see and listen to somebody you don't know who the hell is like Ray Epps. How does that happen?
I don't know. I mean, some of them could have been Antifa. Some of them could have been just criminals that wanted
That's
to get in that were Republican and stuff like that.
any
You know,
any idea when it comes to Antifa. You had all of the Republican Congress and Senate there. You had Mike Pence there. Any idea why none of them are claiming that that protest was Antifa involved?
I don't know. They
Yeah.
might not know the truth. I don't know the truth.
Then
Who
where's
really
it
does?
coming from? If none of the major players that were there that day who claim that their lives are in danger are blaming Antifa, where's that coming from?
Uh, just some of the couple of news articles I've seen or read
Is it
said some
possible
of them could have been.
that stuff could be false and made up?
Yeah, some of it could be. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Just wondering because, yeah, I mean, out of all of the folks that have been arrested, some of them not even given due process, some would argue, but none of the folks that are doing time are blaming it on Antifa. There's virtually
Mhm.
none of the people that were there that day of any significance are saying Antifa did this.
Yeah, and they're probably right. I mean, I wasn't there, so I couldn't, and I don't know
Yeah.
anybody in Antifa, so I couldn't say who it was.
Right. Okay, and that's a fair point. I'm just bringing that up because you hear Antifa a lot, and I'm just simply pointing out that none of the players there. I think personally, I think the Antifa thing is a deflection. I think some folks are trying to downplay what happened or switch the blame from who actually committed to violations to Antifa. But because some
And
folks even said Black Lives Matter. Some people even blamed Black Lives Matter originally as if
yeah,
Black Lives Matter would dare show up to a Trump gathering with thousands of MAGA.
right.
Black Lives Matter would not even be safe there. But
No,
some folks started
and
out and really said it was Black Lives Matter. So
yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a lot of it's a deflection
yeah,
with the
yeah,
Antifa and
and
Black Lives Matter.
that's a we. Yeah,
But
so at the end of the day, do you see President Trump as the best choice going forward for 2024?
I don't see him as the best one. I'd like to see DeSantis get in. I mean, or
Why do
even
you
a
choose?
good.
Why do you favor DeSantis over Trump after seeing Trump's
Um,
economy, seeing Trump in office?
I mean, I liked a lot of the stuff Trump did and brought back from China and stuff like factories and shit. But uh, DeSantis, I've been watching him, and he seems to actually care about the people more than
More than Trump?
I think so. I mean, Trump cares about the
Wow,
people a lot, but I think watching DeSantis, he actually cares about them more. I mean,
wow! I haven't heard from now. Did you support Trump the last two elections he was in?
the last one I did, the first one I didn't have an ID or nothing, so I couldn't vote. But
Okay. All right, fair enough, fair enough.
yeah,
But you supported Trump and you now see DeSantis as someone who cares more about America. That's yeah, I don't normally hear that from former Trump supporters. That's saying a lot. All right,
well,
well, I gotta move it on, Terry. Appreciate
yeah,
you
I
coming
just
in
got to
here.
say, I go if I'm not totally Republican. I mean, I'll vote for a Democrat if it's whoever has the best policies and see what they actually care about.
Fair enough, and that's how you should vote based on who is going to be better for your life as opposed to just following the party. I appreciate that.
Right.
That's the way you should vote. All
Yeah.
right, Terry, moving
All right.
on. Thank you for
Well,
coming in.
thank you.
Absolutely. Looking
Comments, the lies. Somebody says lies. What are the lies? I'm upset with you for putting up the black man is express one. Wait a minute. I'm except for you for putting up the black man is the express one, suppressed one. Well, I understand what you're talking about, and I get the fact that the statement is controversial. But the reason I put that up is because you often hear folks suggest that Trump is, or better yet, that African Americans are playing the victim. Well, Trump is often claiming that he is a victim just about everywhere he goes. So I'm just tying the two into each other for folks who suggest that African Americans often play the victim. If Trump is constantly saying he is being victimized, is he indeed acting the same way? That would be the proper grammatical way to state it, but I chose this way just for a little bit of more, a little bit more flamboyant nature. But let's keep it moving. I appreciate you pointing that out. We'll keep it going with Karen Douglas. Good evening.
President Trump acting like a black man. Good evening, Karen.
Hi. Yeah,
Hey.
I'm glad you said something because that the way that it's worded is really upsetting. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
I
get it.
don't
I
know
get it.
any black. I don't know. Trump has not acted like any black man that I know of, nor do I see black men as acting as a victim. So yeah, that
Yeah.
kind of really threw me. But I really wanted to, say something about that. I did. But it's funny to
Okay.
me about the whole Antifa thing because in my
Yeah.
conversations with MAGA people, they don't even know what Antifa means. They don't. If you
Well,
say, "Did you know
it
that?"
means anti-fascist.
Yeah, but they don't know. And so if you say that it means anti-fascist, they'll tell you no. They actually think it's a person. They think it's a group, instead
I
of
haven't heard
theory.
that one before.
So it reminded
They,
me of the whole thing with Obamacare versus the Affordable Care Act. They didn't realize that the Obamacare was a Affordable Care Act. So here we go
yeah.
again. So it's hilarious to me. If you say that it means anti-fascist, they'll say, no, it doesn't. And I'm like, okay. So we're not going to
Yeah,
talk about it anymore.
I think that they have. I think what they have done is twisted Antifa to simply meaning liberal at this point, and it's not. But I think that's what a lot of folks believe now when they hear Antifa is just radical liberals.
Right. They don't know what
Yeah,
fascist means, and they don't know what anti-fascist means. So it's really ridiculous, that
yeah.
whole argument. But yeah, you need a spanking. You need spanking for that statement. You'd have to
But
have
what
somebody
happens?
check your work first.
But have you ever? I have to ask, since you're suggesting I need to spank it. Have you? What happens if you spank a man and he actually likes it?
Uh, Now that's a whole nother diagnostic category there. No,
Okay. All right,
but yeah,
fair enough. I just had to ask.
they always use that victim card. That's
Yeah.
one of the shut ups that they use. That's one of the shut ups. Some of the other shut ups are, you were a slave. Um,
Mm,
Africans sold black folks into slavery. Those are shut up points. I got your points. That they
yeah.
think that they are. So that's the victim. That's designed just to stop the conversation, to
Yeah.
change
I
the
don't.
direction of the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, I've said that before. You won't ever hear about the Irish slaves unless an African American is talking about black slavery first. If you don't talk about African American slavery, you'll never hear about it, the Irish slaves. If you don't say Black Lives Matter, you'll never hear White Lives Matter. So I do agree with that, that there is a significant amount of pushback. But in regards to tying this in to President Trump, do you see him as a victim on anything?
No, I'm a psychologist. He's not playing the victim so much. He is playing. Well, it depends on how you look at it. He has his game down pat, and when I say that, what I mean by that, whenever he is in hot water, he does what I call the double reverse. Men do that a lot. Like if you're angry, like if I'm angry with you, I'm your woman, I'm pissed off. And so I come to you with my issue, and somehow or another, you're able to twist that puppy around. So I'm confused, and now we're talking about what I did. You know? So he's got that. I have to give that to him. He's got that down pat. He'll have you thinking, have folks thinking the other way, and you forget what it was you were talking about in the first place. And he
That
has
actually
the
works, though. I
it
am
works for
laughing.
him. It works for him. And
Yeah,
he has, if he looks earnest when he does it, he looks, like he knows what he's talking about or saying. So he's really good at doing that double reverse thing. I saw him do it tonight. I'm so
I,
used to seeing him do it, I can't remember what it was. I think he was talking to Sean Hannity
yeah, yeah.
about
But
something,
you know,
and he twisted around.
I'm laughing because I have done exactly what you're talking about, but I won't.
I bet if I
So,
talk to your wife, you've done it a whole lot.
so let me get this conversation back on track. You derailing me like a
Okay.
train in Ohio. So let me ask you this though. At the end of the day, do you think this guy's going to be back in office? If he is that good at this, do you
Oh
think he'll get
no,
back in office?
he's not going to get back in office. He's lost more supporters since that time, and he lost by almost what 8 million. Was seven
Yeah.
million, almost 8 million votes, and he's lost. No, I want him to run again. I want him to run again so he can lose again. He's already setting it up that if he loses again, it's rigged. He's still carrying that same thing, you know. that it's
But
already
what
rigged.
about the
He's already said.
yeah?
That's what he said tonight on Hannity. That's what he was saying. Yeah.
But what about the idea? What about the idea that Biden is doing a poor job, and even though folks may not be big fans of Trump, they would rather vote for him to get the economy back on track or not go into World War III? Do you see any issue? Do you see any way of viewing it that way?
Uh, no, because here again, the people that are talking that are not really paying attention or not really checking things out. I mean, Biden, they say Biden hadn't done anything, but Biden has passed at least 5 bills. And I don't know how many executive orders. He's done the infrastructure bill. He's done that, what was that, the Paycheck Protection Act.
Mm-hmm.
What else is he's got two more that I can't think of. One of them, I can't remember the
I
exact
was
name of it, was about the
the CHIPS
trading with
Act. I'm assuming
China.
you're going to be talking about the CHIPS Act, the Microchips Act.
Right. He's done a heck of a lot. So they like to echo that, but I always counter them with what policies did Trump do? And what plan does he have now to better the lives of the American people now? Because he was riding on the coattails of Obama. So a lot of the things that people experienced in terms of the economy were residuals from the Obama
Mm.
administration.
Yeah.
And what we're experiencing now are the residuals from Trump, which they want to blame Obama for. So,
Well, it's so at the end of the day, I'm assuming you don't think President Trump will ever be in power again. Does
oh
Biden
no.
age concern you at all?
No, because I'm going to tell you what, I know some people in their 90s and their minds are sharp as tacks. And there's no escaping maturation, wisdom that comes with aging. Unfortunately, not for everybody, but I think, a lot of people. No, I don't think that. I don't have a problem with that long as his mind is sharp. His body may fail him in some ways, just because of the aging process. But then again, I have an aunt who is 102 and she's walking around. She does not use a walker, any of that stuff. So, no, I think his mind is just fine. I think he's doing,
So,
a decent
so
job.
how do you respond to folks who would suggest he has dementia or that his mind is not sharp? I mean, the word, the word, the juggling of words and things like that. You don't see any issue there?
He does not have dementia. I'm a clinician and have been for 50 years. He has no signs of dementia. Now, Trump, on the other hand, if you pull up, anybody can go to YouTube and just put in the subject line Trump's best words. And they got
We
about
can do that
10
right now.
videos with him stumbling, mispronouncing words. If anybody looked like they had dementia, it's Donald Trump. He has a very limited vocabulary, more like a 3-year-old. He can't pronounce where I struggled. I was in tears when he was trying to pronounce Yosemite. He said Yosemite. A heroin.
Okay,
He
so
can't pronounce those words. I mean, his intellect is very limited. He can't hold a candle to Biden in terms of intellect. This man can't talk in depth about any political issue.
wow.
So I
Okay, all
don't
right.
see.
Well, before I let you go, I just want to honor your request of Trump's best words. Let me see what you're talking about. Hang on.
In 1870, President Ulysses S. Grant, that beautiful Orion spacecraft, the combat infantryman badge for our nation as a sovereign country. A lot of work has been done, a lot of renovation. If you look at some of it, defensive missions and missiles, your devotion for us, then you will gain momentum
Heroin alone, if you look at the heroin epidemic.
All right, you win. I gotta go. Appreciate you coming in.
See you later.
All right, good talk. Good
Bye
talk.
bye.
Wow. All right.
Good to speak to guests that come with their A game, and that was Karen. That was a good conversation. All right, let me go back to. I see in the comments somebody said that was a Coke slur. What the hell? Who said that? I can't even find the comment again. There's so many comments coming in. Somebody said, "Don't stop it, Peace Stone." It's funny. Whatever Harold it is, I will. Give me a second. Give me a second.
The federal government is conducting an aggressive investigation and to delegitimize. As bad as it is, it meant something by an anonymous, really anonymous. You're going to see some statistics coming out. Americans of all walks of life rose up. Assistant Secretary Girard and Surgeon General Adams, heart, lung, and liver transplants annually, advising lawmakers, but China's the...
Damn, there's a lot of that left. That video's not, as you see the red line at the bottom of the screen, that's not even a third of the way through. Wow. All right, let me stop that shit. That may come up in a future video. Anyway, now play a Biden one. Heather, we know there's a hell of a lot of Biden ones, but we hear from folks on the right, my beloved MAGA, that Trump is, totally sane, totally alert. Did you know that there was that much out there of President Trump? That's a lot. And like I just stated before, that video is not even a third of the way through. That's a lot. But they got out of that guy from one term. What did I say? Somebody's typing words that are like that. Anyway, let me keep it moving. We'll go to Dickens Cider. Good evening.
Welcome to the program. Dickens, what do you think? Do you think President Trump is playing the victim at all?
Maybe to an extent, but I don't think in an unreasonable manner. I think when you talk to people who are rational and speak about January 6th, and they genuinely feel that the machine worked against the guy, I mean,
How so?
if you've been punched in the face, you're a victim of being punched in the face. So,
what do you mean when you say the machine worked against him in regards to January 6th?
You've never seen so many people on the left and right come together to get rid of a person who did not belong at their barbecue.
Well, you gotta think he showed up on January 6th and sent a whole bunch of people in their direction to kill him. That's how they view that. I mean, what do you think they're going to do? Celebrate the guy?
Well, I mean, you're talking about the reaction. When you see the politicians on the left and the right and the media go full bore against the guy, you can't help but think there's something wrong here. When because and I'm going to segue if you don't mind, it's your show, but the last guest you had was talking about Biden's accomplishments. Can you name me one construction project that has been built off the Infrastructure Act? Can you name me one bit of inflation that has been reduced? Can you name me one product that is currently receiving chips from the CHIPS Act? No, you can't. But you can
But
go
that's
back.
not his. But wait a minute, you're holding him accountable for something that's not his job. His job is to approve the chips. It's not his job to snap the chips into radios and devices. His job is to make sure you have access to them. If they're not using them, that's not his fault.
No, but my point is, people on the left hold these so-called accomplishments up as accomplishments of Biden's, but they've done absolutely nothing. So you can't hold them up as, oh, he passed the Inflation Reduction Act. Have you bought eggs recently? I mean, it's not working. I could pass the Everybody's a Billionaire Act. If you don't become a billionaire, then my act didn't work.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. That's playing politics, but that happens under every president. I mean, they give Trump credit for talking to Kim Jong-un and trying to make peace with him. Nothing came out of that. I mean, they're giving Trump credit for that. That's just called politics. People are going to spin what the guy they endorse does, whether it's good or bad.
How many missiles did he fire over Japan during Trump's administration? And how many missiles has he fired over Japan during Biden's administration?
Well, that's a good point. In the response would be he didn't stop under Trump. Now, if you want to suggest he's done more under Biden, we can debate that. But the fact is, Trump brought him to the White House, and he didn't stop under Trump.
Well, it's kind of hard to fix that relationship when it's abruptly ended by the corrupt media.
He didn't stop before Trump was out of office. Trump was
I'm,
still in office, and he was firing missiles.
I'm just saying, if you think that going and speaking to Little Kim is some kind of evil cohort thing that we should just not do, I mean, we're not negotiating with the guy. We're having dialogue at that point.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
did
they
we
did. They
concede?
did exactly that
when
when Obama
I just
decided to
wink,
speak with. When
I just
Obama
winked that out of
spoke
my
with the
mouth.
leaders of Cuba. Wait a minute. When Obama spoke with the leaders of Cuba, they didn't see that with that as something great. They criticized him for doing it.
Maybe I vaguely remember the story, and you're probably right.
Okay.
Hey, I won't deny that, had it been Bush or Trump in office and said, hey, I want to strike Syria, Republicans would have been like, hell yeah. But when Obama said it, we were like, hell no. I get it. I'm not
Yeah,
going to deny any of that. You know what I mean?
that's what I'm
Um,
talking about.
but
That's what I'm
but my
saying. It's just plain politics.
right. But my point is, you didn't see me specifically saying that that's a bad thing for Obama to be down there talking to baby Castro. Okay. I think when you have dialogue with your neighbor, that's a good thing. Okay. No matter
Okay.
how good or bad they are. All right.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
so
fine with that, but I'm fine with what you're saying, and I agree it's good to have dialogue with your neighbor, but that can't start with President Trump. You can't treat everybody else like shit for doing it. Then when Trump does it, well, it's good he's reaching out. That's the point I'm making.
yeah, and that's a fair point. But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of good accomplishments under Trump that are just kind of washed over. And I know he blew it. He blew it the last year of his presidency. I'm not going to deny that. Okay, but Biden has not done anything good for this country, and he's being held up as like he's more untouchable than Biden or Obama. You remember there was that little sense of if you say something bad about Obama, you might be a racist, right? So people just kind of, yeah, I'm not going to say anything because people no, I actually just disagree with this specific policy, right? You can't criticize Biden for shit. Obama's got nothing on Biden's
Wait a
freaking
minute, though.
Teflon.
Hold on. I get folks on my program day in and day out saying Biden has dementia. Biden is a puppet. I get nothing but criticism of Biden.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you don't see anybody on the left criticizing Biden at all. He is the
Yeah, you
Messiah.
do. You do.
He
Wait,
is.
wait, hold on. Elizabeth Warren did not even support Biden for president. AOC, Bernie Sanders, they routinely criticized Biden.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody criticize Biden personally. I'm not talking about media. I don't watch a whole lot of media anymore. Okay, I'm talking about
That might be why. That could be why. Because
right here on
Joe
TikTok.
Manchin,
Uh,
Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, there's a
Tim,
lot of liberals that
Tim,
criticize Biden.
I'm talking about the people who will be going into the voting booth in 2 years. Okay, the people right here on TikTok. I rarely see
Oh.
anybody here holding Joe Biden accountable for his failures. The closest I saw to that was a moderate Democrat was criticizing him last week about something, and I forgot exactly what it was. Oh, the TikTok thing, the potential TikTok ban. That's the closest I've ever seen anyone criticize Biden. Now, I mean, it's just
Wait.
insane.
Let me interrupt. I'll let you continue. But do you see a hell of a lot of MAGA criticizing Trump on TikTok?
I think they're starting to.
Starting to.
Yes.
He's been gone for almost 3 years. They're starting to.
Nobody's going to take a guy who had because I'm looking at list of accomplishments here, right? Because I wanted to come in with a couple talking points, right? Uh, Stock market closed at 20,000, the Dow, for the first time in 2017. You know what it closed in the third quarter of 2020? 30,000. Okay. The guy had an amazing presidency. Okay. So there's nothing for me to criticize during his actual administration other than his handling of COVID. However, in the last little over 2 years now, you've seen a lot of immaturity come out of him that says maybe it is time to move on. And I think you have seen a lot of MAGA say that. Yes, it is time to move on.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. You're saying things I don't. Here's where I disagree. You're saying that he had an amazing presidency. There's nothing to criticize. How about the notion that the FBI claims that under his watch, hate crimes increased significantly?
Well, I mean, my rebuttal to that is going to be I don't believe that. Okay. Now,
Then why do
and
you,
and the
if you
reason,
don't believe, if you don't believe the negatives, what makes you believe the positives? Maybe those are not right either.
hey, fair enough. But when it comes to just the specific example of hate crimes, what's the definition of a hate crime? Because we know that there's actual hate crimes and people need to be punished extremely harshly for committing them. And then there's other things that just fall into that category, right? That I don't think we would both, neither of us, we seem like rational guys, would consider a true
Right.
hate crime.
Well,
And because you've seen the FBI be weaponized, you've seen the DOJ be weaponized, and it doesn't matter
yeah.
what side of the aisle you're on. You can't say that you 100% trust the FBI to handle an investigation about you or your family member or whatever. You would be
Can
like,
I,
oh,
let me, and that's a good point. Let me ask that question in regards to the FBI being weaponized and you can't trust them. Why the hell did African Americans get so much backlash when we said you can't trust the police? We were unpatriotic. We didn't give a damn about the country. Now all of a sudden, MAGA saying you can't trust law enforcement, and it's actually something that's legitimate. All of a sudden, what changed?
you know what, Tim? I'm not going to speak for everybody else, and because there's plenty of bigots out there. Okay, what I will say is, if you've shown somebody some new information, I'm not going to use the term woke, but if you show somebody some new information and their opinion starts to change for the better, are you still going to hold them accountable for having the wrong opinion? Because if you had asked me 10 years ago, seriously, if you had asked me 10 years ago, I was watching like Innocence Project or something, I was like, man, there's no way there's this many innocent people on death row. You know what I mean? And then I start seeing some of these trials where it's just kangaroo courts, okay? And I'm like, wow, maybe some of those people are innocent and they should be looked at, right? And when you start seeing bad activities of law enforcement, you go, you know what? Maybe what those guys were talking about a couple years ago, maybe it's got some substance.
Yeah, but how are we supposed to respond? Now Trump is claiming he's being mistreated by law enforcement. I get it, but when we were telling Trump himself, law enforcement is mistreating us, such as Colin Kaepernick, we're telling the president, law enforcement is mistreating us. He damn near beat us over the head with a Blue Lives Matter flag. Now that he is facing it, how are we supposed to look at him?
You can look at Trump any way you want. I'm saying when you're talking to me right here on TikTok is what all I'm fighting for. You know what I mean? I'm not fighting for the way that you view Trump. What I'm fighting for is the way that you view the people who voted for him.
Yeah. I just wish when he was in a position of power before he felt that law enforcement was mistreating him, he had just simply been willing to listen to us when we said law enforcement was mistreating us. He pretty much treated us like shit. Get that son of a bitch off the field and all of that. Now that it's happening to him, all of a sudden, I mean, you got to understand where I'm coming from. African Americans are not going to have a lot of sympathy for the man because he treated us like shit under the same circumstances.
That's a fair point, man. I won't deny that.
Yeah. Want to bring that up. So when you say what can we criticize, we're going to start with that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well,
last
go
word.
ahead.
Hey, that's a fair statement right there, and I'm gonna take it to heart, and I'm gonna simmer over it for a little bit, right? My only request is stop holding Biden up as some messiah that has done shit.
Okay. I can live with that. And I would point out that vote for me or you ain't black was something that was originally criticized by black people. That started out on the Breakfast Club, Charlemagne the God. So it's not like we haven't criticized Biden. I'll tell you this before I let you go. The only reason why it appears that we're ignoring everything that Biden does wrong is because they keep sending Trump. If Trump was not Biden's competition, I think you would get more accountability that you're seeking towards Biden. But as long as you keep letting us know that if you go ahead and punish Biden like I'm suggesting, we're going to give you Trump. That's where I think the problem is.
Fair enough, because I do criticize the left for continually bringing up Trump, but you know what? He is here in the spotlight doing his thing, and if he were to go away, there would be more accountability on Biden's end. So fair enough.
Yep.
Thanks, Rick.
100%, 100%. And also, too, it's very difficult to stop talking about Trump when he's traveling the country talking about us. You get that?
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Thanks for having
Good
me on,
talk.
man. Have a good night.
You too. You too. Always a pleasure. All right. Looking in.
That was a really good talk. Most of our conversations here are pretty good, folks. By the way, if you favor civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, follow the damn program. Helps out the algorithms, doesn't cost you a damn thing, and this is what you get. Generally, I am on here 11:30 a.m. Central till about 1 or so. We do about 2 hours during the middle of the day. And once again, the program is and shall always remain MAGA friendly. Do not let the name fool you. The program is and always will remain MAGA friendly. I do not block, ban, or censor guests for their commentary. The fact that you may disagree with the host never means a damn thing here. So feel free to come in the box. We'll give you plenty of time to state your point without censorship. Looking in the comments, more MAGA. Juice, I'll see what I can do. Damn, Tim, you look tired. Machete Phil. Unfortunately, I have been cursed with just dark ass eyes. I'm not tired at all, but I've had police shine the lights in my face, like, "Are you sleepy?" or whatever the hell, or "What you been smoking?" You're looking at a gentleman, and I'm not bullshitting you one bit. Not even a wine cooler, not even a beer. Not had one single alcoholic beverage in 50 years of my life. Never tried marijuana. Never smoked cigarettes. Just naturally dark ass eyes. Nothing I can do about it. Anyway, let me go back to the comments. Trump broke you. Biden can't fix you. User, that is a horrible situation. Trump broke us and Biden can't fix us. Essentially stating that we are fucked. Wow. God bless Nashville Police Department. Damn right, fund them. In regards to defunding the police, shout out to those Nashville officers. But I want to tell you something that's really funny. Anytime there's a controversial action by police, you notice how they try to, well, listen, there's a case ongoing right now. We can't speak, there's pending litigation. We don't want to release the video. It's a privacy issue. You see how quick they released that damn video? They did everything right in Nashville. And you see how quick that video got out to the public, even up to and including a woman getting shot. Like, we're going to show you every damn thing while we can take credit. Blue Lives Matter, Yahoo. They got that video out in about, was it even 24 hours? The entire video, up to and including the killing, is already all over YouTube and shit. So just let that be a lesson to you that anytime the police are involved in a controversial event and they don't want to release the video, it's all bullshit. Nashville has shown you that if they really want you to see what happened, they don't have any problem showing you. So if they are stalling or not showing you the video, let Nashville be the example to show that they are up to something, because it can be done. They got that video out quick as hell. Looking in the comments, shooter is dead. Why? Well, oftentimes when we're pursuing videos, the person in the video is dead too. But just notice that for some reason that video came out a hell of a lot quicker than most of them do. Those Metro Police are heroes. Don't take that away from them. I'm not, Heather. I'm not taking that away from them. I just said fund them. I just said they are the shit. But I'm just also going to use what they did to show that it can be done. They can release videos within a 24-hour period. Nashville showed that. You can't just be like, we're going to give them credit when they do something bad, or good rather, but when they do something bad, we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. That's not fair. That video came out in 24 hours. Why won't the other ones come out that quick? When Biden speaks, you need the rabbit to do sign language. Well, you just seen the video I played of President Trump. You need sign language for that as well. Thanks to the poor Trump supporters, he was able to restore his airplane and added gold seat buckles. Is that true? Let me go back to the comment section. More MAGA, you guys say. All right, let's keep it going. Donald Robbins. Appreciate you folks holding on, but it's not a case that's under investigation. No, it's not. because everything was done right. But oftentimes when they claim everything is done right in other cases, I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is you don't have to take weeks to release video. Nashville proves that. Just because a case is under investigation does not mean you should not be able to show people what happened. You can go to a court of law and both of you can argue on what took place, but there's no reason why you need to keep the citizens in the dark of what's on the video. You just don't. Pick your jury or whatever the case may be. Pick the people that's going to make the decisions. Maybe keep the video from them, but the rest of the public should have access to it. Either they work for the public, either they are public service or they're not. If you do something wrong at your job, nobody gonna hide the video on your ass. So why should they get the benefit of that? Every time someone says Biden has dementia, I don't know what happened with my last caller, but we'll keep it moving. Every time someone says Biden has dementia because of how he talks, you should play 1 minute of the video. Yeah, that video, that was bad. I have never seen that video before. That was a first for me. Shout out to Karen that called in and made it clear where you could find that. I believe the video, for folks who want to see something crazy like that or maybe use it in your own conversation and lives in the future, the video is simply titled Trump's Best Words. So if you go on YouTube and type in Trump's Best Words, you'll get a video filled with shit like this.
And missiles your devotion, prowess, then you will gain momentum. Heroin alone, if you look at the heroin epidemic, the federal government is conducting an aggressive investigation and to delegitimize. As bad as it is, it meant something by an anonymous, really anonymous. You're going to see some statistics coming out. Americans of all walks of life rose up. Assistant Secretary Girard and Surgeon General Adams, heart, lung, and liver transplants annually, advising lawmakers, but China's their supply chain. This Russia thing with Trump, I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation, the beginnings. And every single car out there, even the really expensive.
Wow, he was trying to say the origins of the investigation. Where did it originate? He was actually using the word orange like the fruit. All right, we got to point that out. Listen, I get a lot of folks on the program talking about Biden and his gas all the time, falling up aircraft stairs, falling off of bikes and shit. The man used the word orange to replace origin. It's not even the same amount of syllables. Doesn't rhyme or anything. You gotta point that out. That's funny as shit. That's good material. Anyway, nevertheless, folks, it is what we always do around this time. I do have to get up and go to my day job in the morning, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to end this live and take my ass to bed like the rest of you folks. Folks are pointing out I'm tired. I'm not. I'm always here enjoying time with the folks. In fact, just for shits and giggles, I will tackle one more before we leave. Kristen, I tried to get Kristen in here a minute ago. It wouldn't let him in. At least he doesn't shit
like Biden. How do you know? How do you know? Are you walking around smelling his ass? Kristen, good afternoon or good evening.
So I want to know why people are so still obsessed with who's president and not even talking about BRICS.
Repeat that.
BRICS.
You're talking about Britain and okay, what do you mean by obsessed with it? You talking about those four countries? Brazil, not
No.
Britain. Brazil, Russia. What about it?
India, China, and South Africa going off the US dollar and going to the Chinese yuan, effectively removing the US dollar as the world's secondary currency, which will thrust our economy into total despair.
And your question about that is what?
Is why are you people so concerned with a guy that's not even president anymore and having this like high school locker room talk, bashing this guy or that guy, and nobody's talking about what actually matters?
Well, I'll respond to that. First of all, in regards to, because some folks will suggest it's Trump derangement syndrome or he's living rent-free in your head. Fact of the matter is, Trump is traveling the country talking about the same people that are talking about him back. So in regards to why don't we move on?
Forget about Trump. Forget about Biden. Let's talk
Why
about
won't
the
he?
U.S.
Wait. In
dollar.
regard, but in regard, I get your point about BRICS and the economy. But in regards to forgetting about Trump, maybe that would be easier to do if he wasn't criticizing people constantly.
United States politics is nothing more than the glorified high school popularity contest. Gives people something to talk about, but they're not focusing on the real issues.
Well, then why, if he truly cares about the country, why won't he stop talking so that the American people can do what you're asking?
So you're avoiding what I'm trying to talk about.
No, I'm not. I'm answering it.
This is a
I'm
real
answering it.
world problem, and you're
Right.
still deferring back to talking about Donald Trump for 7 years, beating the hell out of this guy. What's the point? Where is this going? What is this leading to? How is this benefiting anybody's life?
How is it benefiting anybody's life that he's talking about people?
Are you not getting it? I mean, I'm trying to talk about
I,
real world things.
but
This is really happening.
I
We
get
are
your point
moving to a
100%.
governmental cryptocurrency controlled by the United States government because the US dollar is failing.
I get your point 100%. What you're trying to tell me is that what's going on in the world is so bad right now that we should just let him talk
It,
about
it's
us and
it's
ignore it.
it's not. Do you know what's going to happen?
No, I don't. You're going to give me an Armageddon level of politics, just like they
How
said when
how is
Obama.
it that the
Hold on.
world has relied on the US dollar since World War II as the world's secondary currency? China is moving away from that, and they have gotten what, 5 countries involved now, and more are coming.
Okay,
Do
here's the
you
problem.
understand the
I
repercussions of that?
understand it. I understand it. The problem is whether I believe it or not. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. I don't
You
always
believe
buy
it or
into
not?
what. Okay, let me respond. I'll let you respond as well. But I don't
That's
always buy into Armageddon politics. And what I mean by that is when
so you
Obama
think
ran
it's a
for office.
conspiracy theory?
Okay, you're not hearing me out. I'll let you. I'll promise. I'll give you plenty of time to state your point. But you got to hear what I'm saying before you jump in.
Well, it's
The
been
point I'm
publicly announced.
Okay, that's fine. Let me respond. When Obama ran for office in 2007, it was publicly announced, as you put it, that if he won office, he would turn America into socialist Greece. Taxes would go up to 70%, and gas
We're
would be
not talking
$5 a
about
gallon.
American politics. We're talking
I'm
about
t-
world economics.
that you're not hearing what I'm saying. You want to get your point across. I get it, but I'm telling you, people do not believe the story you're saying.
So, okay, so they don't believe it, so it's not
No.
true then.
No. Well, it could be true. I'm just simply telling you. People don't believe the world is going to end.
It is true. It's happening right
All
now.
right. All right. Okay.
What are
Maybe
your
you're
thoughts
right.
on that?
My thoughts is it's Armageddon politics.
Oh my God. Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's your stance on it.
I,
It's propaganda, it's Armageddon politics. It's not actually happening right now.
yeah. Let me respond to you the best way I know how. I'm a man of 50 years. I've heard shit like if we don't do something about Saddam Hussein, he's going to use weapons of mass destruction on us. That's worse than
It's
what you're talking about. That is
it's
worse than
not
what you're
it's
talking
not
about.
American politicians saying this.
Did you believe what the World Health Organization said about COVID? That wasn't American
So did you
politicians.
understand that this country is what now, $32 trillion in debt, can they never pay back, and the world is seeing that as economic weakness and wants to move away from the US dollar.
Okay. I understand what you said. I'm going to ask you what I see in the comments. Joe asked, what is your solution? What do you think we should do?
What can you do?
So why worry about it if you can't do nothing about it?
What is the government of the United States actively doing about it because they know it's happening? What are they actively doing about it? Do you know?
I don't know if I totally believe it, is the point I'm making.
Oh my God. Do you know they just passed a bill for a cryptocurrency for the United States because they know China has us. They know the
Okay.
dollar is defunct. They know this. This has been
All
going
right.
on for a long time.
So your point is there's nothing we can do about it.
It's too late now.
All right. So why get upset about something you have no control over?
Because the writing has been on the wall for a long time. And this is another one of those problems, those long list of problems. It gets labeled as, what did you call it? What did you call it earlier?
Armageddon politics. Armageddon politics. The world going to end.
Armageddon politics.
Right.
So once we get everybody signed up for the United States governmental cryptocurrency, where they can shut off your funds anytime they want, for any reason, you're okay with that?
I think that what you're telling us to worry about doesn't even make a
I'm not
big
telling
difference
you
to
to.
the
I'm
life.
telling you what's happening.
Okay, I think what you're
You-
telling us
the-
that is happening will
It's
not affect the
beyond.
average American.
It's not worry about anymore. Okay, this is happening.
Okay.
There's
So
no
what do you think?
voting out of this.
So what are you suggesting? We're heading to a Great Depression?
Oh, worse.
When is this going to happen?
It's currently happening right now.
But we're not in a
There are
Great Depression right now.
multiple
Hold on.
countries. Okay.
We are not currently in a Great Depression.
Well, then
When will we be living like that? When will we be living like we were in a Great Depression?
just sing a little song, do a little dance, and pretend everything is okay. Then
You didn't answer the question. You deflected. I asked you, when will
as soon,
America?
when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? That's what you're asking me. As
Yes.
soon as the dollar is dropped as the secondary world currency. Do you know what the
Give me a date.
secondary world
Give me a
currency
date.
is?
Give me a
Do you
date.
know what that is? Do you
Give
know
me a
what that
date.
is?
You haven't answered the when part. Give me a date.
It's coming. What do you know what the secondary world currency
You
is?
haven't answered the question. Give me a date. When is
You're
it going to happen?
deflecting.
You
What is
haven't
the
answered the
secondary world
question.
currency?
Give me a
It
date.
hasn't. Okay, well, it hasn't happened yet, but it's in progress right now. Do you
Give me a
understand
date.
that?
Give me a date when it will no longer be in progress or would actually
Do
have
you
happened.
want me
Give me
to
a date.
hop in the DeLorean with Doc Brown and give you the
You're,
date from the Sports Almanac?
you telling me something's going to happen, but you can't do something as simple as tell me what date it's
It's
going to
it's
take
actively
place?
in progress. What part of that don't you understand?
Give me a date.
Do you not pay attention to real world politics?
I'm paying attention to you. Give me a date.
This is a waste of my time. I'm out.
Well,
I'm
I don't
out.
think see,
I'm
you don't
out.
seem to know.
I'm
All right.
out.
Okay. Fair
Fuck
enough.
this.
All right. Okay. I, I don't get upset with what you're talking about if you can't even provide something as simple as a date when it will take place. If that is as bad as what he is suggesting, talking about our markets are going to go ape shit. We're going to be living in a Great Depression. America is going to be turned upside down. If it is that horrible, when you ask the man, give me a date when it's going to take place, he should be able to let you know that so we would understand the urgency of it. Why push back so much on the date when it's going to take place? That's why I look at it as Armageddon politics. Because the same thing is what I used to ask folks when they stated that Obama was going to turn America into socialist Greece. Nowadays, they're using Venezuela. But during the Obama administration, Greece was a failed economy, so they were saying America is going to become socialist Greece. Now they'll say Venezuela. But when you ask, well, what date is that going to happen by? You get answers like what he's talking about. Well, it's in the future. It's about to take place. What date? When is it going to happen? He didn't have an answer for that. But he strongly believed you should be as upset as Leonardo DiCaprio in the last half hour of the Titanic. I can't get upset when you can't give me a date. Makes it sound like you don't know what you're talking about, but maybe I'm wrong. All right, look it in the comments. If you think Biden is a good president, I have a question. That's because he has done nothing for something. I'm not here to suggest that Biden is a good president. I don't think he's horrible like some folks say. I certainly do not agree with those who believe he is the worst president in history. But nevertheless, I've said this on many broadcasts that as long as Trump continues to be the opposition, Biden is going to be viewed as better than he is. because there are people who just do not want to see a second coming of President Trump. I've said it before, and I know this sounds awful when I say this, but I believe a dog acting as a Democrat would get a hell of a lot of votes against President Trump. It's not the guy that is beating Trump. It is Trump beating himself. I simply believe that Trump is his own worst enemy. When you look at the economy under Trump, when you look at how America was performing under Trump, whether you like him or not, he should have been reelected. The fact that he was not reelected shows that he was doing a hell of a lot of things to prevent himself from getting reelected. Trump is his own worst enemy. On paper, he should have gotten a second term. You got folks in my audience that are not liberals. You got folks who are readily admitting, I voted for Trump twice. I think he done a great job. I like his policies, but I didn't vote for him again. I don't want him to win again. Why would somebody who voted for Trump twice, favors his policies, has been a lifelong Republican, state that they don't want Trump in office in 2024? That shows you what problems he has had. Now, my last caller was talking about, well, you shouldn't be talking about Trump and you should be focusing more on this issue or that issue. I vehemently disagree. We're going to be likely dealing with a Trump versus Biden rematch. Whether you like Trump and hate Biden or vice versa, you should be talking about these two guys because one of them is going to be controlling your life as of 2024. Why would you not be speaking in regards to President Trump? He certainly has a lot to say about you. All right. As always, folks, looking in the comments, on paper, Trump didn't win the first time. Lost by 3 million votes to Hillary. Well, that's not. We don't run our elections based on the popular vote. He won the Electoral College. He won the presidency the way presidents win. I mean, fact is, most Republican presidents in our lifetime do not win the popular vote. That's not likely to change anytime soon. Certainly not after the Trump era. But you don't have to win the popular vote. You have to win the electoral vote. And by that standard, Trump won 2016. Handsome is a redneck Republican. What the hell? Don't let them fool you. I got to be one of the most well-tanned rednecks in existence. Appreciate the comment. What am I, Italian or something? He's a con man. Super honky. That's a hell of a name. I doubt he will win, but hell no to Biden. That came from Cadence calling, and that, you have a legitimate right to criticize Biden or not want him in office. Certainly, if you lean right. I mean, he's pro-choice, pro-LGBT. I totally get it. Even though I lean left, I totally would get why somebody on the right would not vote for Biden. But as I keep pointing out, as long as his competition is Trump, Biden is going to do better in terms of the election than he probably should have. Because you got a hell of a lot of folks that either identify as conservative or independent that are voting for Biden simply because they don't like Trump. Biden is winning votes that he normally would not get. It has nothing to do with his politics, has nothing to do with how he ran the country. It's simply because the other guy is that much of a turnoff to them. So think about that when you go, well, how could a guy in his basement win so many votes? They really hate the other dude. That's why that's happening. Looking in the comments. That was a big result of the first time Trump ran too. Yeah, they really hated Hillary Clinton. Trump got a lot of votes from anti-Hillary folks, Bernie Sanders supporters that were pissed off and believed that Hillary stole the election from Bernie Sanders. A lot of folks voted for Trump that did not like Trump. They did it because they were pissed off with Hillary Clinton. Now, I would have to ask any Bernie Sanders supporter that voted for Trump out of protest, how do they feel about that? Because Trump is completely against anything Bernie Sanders would have promoted. I mean, I get disliking Hillary Clinton. She's not very popular, but you're going to get a lot closer to Bernie Sanders policies with Hillary Clinton than you ever will with Trump. So, all right. Looking in the comments here, we'll make it happen one more time with Loopy.
Hey, tap the screen. Send your boy out with about 70,000.
You don't know why
there's a fucking problem and you don't see it and you're
I
trying to
agree with you.
justify
I've
it.
told you, I agree with you on all points. He's stupid.
I know he
Loopy,
is.
Loopy, Loopy, you're on. Can you hear me? All right. Apparently, we brought on a guest that was. I just brought on a guest that apparently was already a guest in their own home. They had another live show already going on. Hillary would have done. Let me ask that question before we go. Hillary would have been a better president than Trump, says Georgie Pardew. How many of you folks think that? Not versus Trump, we're not, because obviously that has been already played out in the politics. But Hillary Clinton versus Joe Biden. Who do you think would have been best? Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden? Which one of those two individuals you think would have been a better commander in chief? Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden? Economy. Who's better to deal with the Putin Zelensky conflict? Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden? I'm curious to see what you guys put in. Um, Looks like most people are saying Hillary. Damn, most people are saying Hillary. Bro got bullied by his high school girl. Urban tragedy. I don't know what that means. Communism is better than fascism. Do we want either in America, though? She's already arguing. I don't know who you're talking to. Oh, you're talking about on the phone call. Yeah, that was crazy. Same thing, both. Both wanted war with Russia. Well, I don't, if in regards to saying that Biden and Hillary Clinton wanted war with Russia, President George W. Bush didn't speak positively of Russia either. In fact, other than President Trump, when was the last time we had a president that spoke favorably of Russia? Reagan didn't speak favorably of Russia. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Jimmy Carter, Ford, Nixon. When was the last time we had a president that spoke favorably of Russia? And considering how things have been over the last 10 years or so, what would make Trump even come in 2017 and suggest that Putin's a great guy? Why would we be speaking favorably of Russia in modern times? Trump got in office and blacks was able to have, Trump got in office and blacks were able to have open discussions. What? I don't get that. Daryl, Trump got in office and blacks was able to have open discussion. You're saying they couldn't do that under Obama? I don't quite get that one. Nobody will win a war between nuclear powers. It would be nothing but suffering. It's on and popping. Yeah, that's kind of the old MAD, mutually assured destruction. Hopefully, we don't come to a nuclear conflict with either Russia nor China. Everybody has something to lose in an event like that. So I don't think we're going to get into it that way now. Obviously, many would argue that Russia and China combined could be very competitive to the United States, but we don't have the manpower, but the amount of technology we have in this country in terms of ships sailing every sea, advanced nuclear powered submarines and things like that, all under the ice caps and stuff like that, we would put up a hell of a fight against Russia and China. Fact is, America has bases and assets on every continent of the globe. Neither China nor Russia can say that. No matter where you are in the world, if you start problems with the United States, chances are within about 1,000 miles, there's a U.S. base. No matter where the hell you're at, Africa, Middle East, no matter where you're at, if you start an issue with the United States, they already have a base built. And operating within 1,000 miles of you. A lot of times it's a hell of a lot closer than that. Already have active troops that close to you. No other country can say that. So that makes a huge difference. Also, America has the ability to transport shit that other countries do not have. Such as if the Chinese rather, needed to transport troops to the American continent. Do they have the amount of ships and aircraft to do that like the United States does? You see what Russia has. What about the Russian Navy? You think they got enough to really transport a lot of shit around? We got 12 aircraft carriers in this country.
Not to mention the entire fleet that supports that. Who else has shit like that? Nobody. So they have the manpower, but they don't have the transport capabilities. And make no mistake about it, America's a long way from Asia or Russia. So to get here, they would have to have the transport capabilities. And then, of course, I'm going to give a lob, an underhand pitch to my MAGA Second Amendment supporters. Once they get here, it's going to be a mess. I mean, let's just be real. Roaming around the American countryside would be a mess for any enemy when you factor in how many firearms are in this country. It would be a mess. You couldn't even get out of that tank and go take a piss without somebody trying to kill your ass. So, they got the manpower, but the United States has so much technology that I don't know if they really want to, as they would say in the hood, take on that smoke. I don't think they want to do that. I think it was the Japanese that once said there is an armed American behind every blade of grass or something like that because so many Americans have firearms. And that was what they were saying in World War II. There's far more guns in this country now than there was in World War II. So, because back then, people like me, for instance, might have not been able to own a firearm. I can go out and buy any damn thing I want now. So I can't imagine them. Now, they can compete with us on a nuclear level, yes, but you're not going to destroy all the people in the country. We learned that with Iraq, that you can bomb them from the air all you want, but when you put troops on the ground, there's going to still be people down there you want to deal with. And when you factor in America, everybody has access to firearms. And if we truly face a military conflict, we're going to come together like a Lego set. And you're not going to have all the racial issues and things like that. People will start handing out guns to everybody because all of our lives are at stake. So your neighbor that may have 10 guns and you don't have any, hey, if you are willing to take up the line and help us, yeah, you can hold this, you can hold that. Here's a couple magazines. They got to deal with all of that when they come over here. If they were to invade this country, they would have to deal with all of that shit. So I don't see it. I just can't see it. I think at the end of the day, both sides will have a cooler heads prevail type mindset. And yeah, I don't think any type of crazy ass invasion like that people fear the Chinese are going to do. I just don't see it. But like I say all the time, I could be wrong. Nevertheless, in the comments I see it's what it says, something I can't pronounce it, but it says pistols don't compare. Well, you think it's going to stop at pistols? I mean, we already got citizens in this country that are capable of making shit on their own, printing out firearms and things like that. If we get invaded, you're going to start having a hell of a lot of white colored plastic long rifles and shit popping up out of nowhere. So we will find what compares. I mean, you got a lot of hardcore gun lovers in this country like no other. I don't think we're a good place to invade. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think America's a good place to put enemies on the ground in. It would be nasty. Yeah, I think it would be nasty. Anyhow, folks, I do got to wrap the live up. I appreciate you rolling with me. It is bedtime for your boy, 11:30 a.m. Central. Catch you tomorrow.